Hey everyone, I'm Goat the GM, and thanks again for joining the Ret-Con-Artists. This week's episode, we're starting a new story arc, the RMSS Catatonic. After their crazy and tragic encounter with Darius Peru and rescuing Mason, the crew needs a well-deserved break. But there ain't no rest for the wicked, as this too is going to be another mission for them, even if it does mean sacrificing a little of their vacation. Again, thank you guys so much for joining us. Enjoy this week's episode, the RMSS Catatonic, Episode 1. Let's do it. Oh, goodness. Oh, this is gonna be a shit show. Hello, everyone.
Yeah. Did someone say shit show?
I love shit shows.
We're finally back. We've all been waiting for this for so long. And Paul is still hacking like a motherfucker.
I can't help it. I had the fucking flu, guys.
Yup.
I guess I still technically have the flu.
Yes. And
that was awful.
Thank you for rejoining the Ret-Con-Artists. I am Goat the GM. Say hi, everyone.
Hello.
Hi, everyone.
Oh, thanks, MC.
Every day.
What's up, hobo?
Masiva.
He's not MC, he's hobo.
Oh, he's hobo. I know it's hobo.
Hobo.
Who do?
How
You
about
do.
we get this game going?
How about we do that?
That's
So good.
That's awful.
All right, so quick recap. Who wants to recap?
Look it up.
I don't
Previously
know.
on Ret-Con-Artists.
Don't do it, Paul. Don't
That's
do
all
it.
go.
We have to do it every time.
Well, Bjorn and Tarbok didn't beat people up. Vlad the Imploded is still not imploded.
He's still alive.
He's
He's
constantly
still alive.
imploding, actually.
And
Nailed it.
Vera
Fucking
got
nailed it.
I can't remember the name of what Vero got, but she got some and got a new
An
dude.
angry slime.
Got an angry slime,
Oh,
anger
yeah.
boy.
What
An
was
angry
it
yeah.
called?
I can't
Boomite or something? I can't even remember. I had it in my notes here somewhere. Uh-oh.
Light.
We can figure it out another day and we will retcon it. Anyways, yes, Vera got some materials such as
I have the fucking notes. Hang on.
chlorophyte and
Wait, do you not have any regular notes?
Bombastium.
and bombastium.
Bombastium.
Yes. Yes. Oos.
Yep.
And what else did we do? Vera slaughtered a fuck ton of people,
Yeah, that's true.
impressing her friend Ileana.
Look, there's only so much you can push the shy kid.
It's true. There's only so much you can push the
And then
angsty
eventually
teenager.
There's an AK under the trench coat.
Oh god.
Right? Listen, the best part about that is, I mean, we've all been there, and we made sure to give her like
No.
Jello pudding.
Can't
I wore the
relate.
trench coat.
They've been
Can't
what?
relate.
I wore the trench coat.
I don't
No,
know.
I just
Looked under a trench coat? What is
Yeah,
going
I
on?
have a picture of Alex in a trench coat that may or may not hop into the Discord at one point or another.
it better, or I'll just come downstairs and have a look. I mean, what the fuck?
Yeah, that's fair.
You know, if he wasn't such a creep, he wouldn't have found it.
Yeah, that's
Have-
true.
Have you
creeped
not
his
actually
Facebook.
spent any? You guys spent like a lot of time playing Tarkov. Have you not figured out that he's a fucking monster yet? Right?
Anyhow,
So I have an emote idea for our Retcon channel. It literally
Shoot.
needs to be something coming off the rails.
Yeah.
oh yes. So like, just a
Literally what we
picture
do
of
every
this.
time.
Just a picture of this
Yeah.
right now. All right, finishing up
Real
the
train
recap.
Piled up.
Finishing up the recap, we had
We did some stuff. We
Vera
got some
and
things.
Ileana go and pick up some materials that will potentially help with Mason's situation. We also had Arthur and Tim go to we'll call it the Shrieking Shack, just for fun,
Yeah, what's
out
that
in the
noise again?
woods. I don't. No. No,
Like a
not
dying
right now.
Just keep going. Just
It's
keep
like
going.
it's like a dying something. And they ended up meeting Vlad the Imploded, who ended up coming back with them to the maintenance department in order to help them out with Mason if they provide a means for him to either die or be cured of the constant portable holes eating holes in his stomach. Yeah. And then, of course, yes, Tarvok and Bjorn went to the pub and met our famous MC Hobo, the world's greatest fucking rapper. Like, come on now. And what they were advised of
All
is
the
that
spaghetti.
he had a mission for them. All the spaghetti. And that
And we
was...
didn't beat anybody else up.
Ooh,
We
I
just
told
called
you.
them
Yeah,
I'm
racist.
so proud of you guys. So proud.
You social justice warrior them.
It's
That's
not
right.
far off.
Bjorn is a warrior of many things.
Why are you so
Justice is one of
racist?
them.
Oh gosh.
Terrible.
Feels bread, man. Anyways, so that all happened, and they received a mission blap from MC Hobo, and that was that there is a cruise leaving the nearby town. And what town was that again? I apologize. It's an actual town that I read.
We're having a beach episode, so
Oh
obviously
yeah,
Bjorn's gonna get his manly bikini on.
a little bit of just
Gonna break
sunscreen on the
out.
nose.
Breaking out the old Speedo.
Exactly. Anyways, so they need to pack their bags and disembark soon on their cruise, which will be a really, really, really good time.
Gingerbread man.
Terrible. I am trying to find this town. Oh my goodness, where is this town? Erebor. There we go. Of course it's Erebor. And
We can word. Who says we can't?
yes. I think that's everything. I think that's pretty much where we left off, except for the fact that MC Hobo told them that there is a terrorism plot against this ship. As you guys all remember, much like Bevington told you, each mission that's been accepted in the past by he has the special ability of determining if there's a deeper underlying factor within the mission that needs attention from the maintenance department. And
We
that
just
determines...
accepted without asking.
Yeah, basically. But luckily
You're like,
enough...
"Alright."
Luckily enough,
And that's
Bevington
okay.
figured, you know what the hell, terrorism plot, that's something going on. You guys need a vacation. Go ahead. Just do it.
Terrorists, we will kill.
So where we left off was everyone back at the maintenance department after completing all of your tasks that Bevington sent you on. And we'll say it's basically the morning of, before you have to disembark from Erebor. It's early morning. Have you all packed?
Yeah, I emptied out my backpack, and now all of my trinkets are all over my room. And oh wait, no, I got a backpack. I got a bag of holding. Never mind, I stuffed that bag full.
It's a backpack full of backpacks.
I'm gonna bring my typewriter. I'm gonna bring that ball. I'm gonna put my stick in there.
The replicating pole.
Yep.
Ah, Cinderella. You will be missed.
Not very sorely.
Not like her
Well,
throat.
she was.
No.
She was.
All right. Tarvog, what did you do for packing?
Well, what would Tarvok bring knowing he's going out on the water? He still wears his traditional ranger's garb he's been wearing day in, day out. I mean, it's scuffed up, it's a little smelly, but I mean, it does the job. The basic traveler's backpack he typically brings would be fine.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't really feel the need to bring much. He's being a dwarf, he's not an exceptional swimmer.
Mm-hmm.
Don't
But
worry.
his old friend who taught him the ways of providing for himself made sure that he knows how to swim.
Good.
After
At
a
least-
while, though, he's gonna stink like a stone because I mean, fucking dwarf. I mean,
Yeah. The legs can only tread water for so long.
He will put in a request for the quartermaster for an extra length of rope and something buoyant.
All right, and you do receive that, actually. They're at the door of your quarters that morning. You receive a 50-foot length of rope from the quartermaster. as well as a very small device that appears to be a balloon, but it has a little switch on it. And there's a little note from Alistair that says, if the shit hits the fan, twist the switch.
Okay, so let's pause for a second. Hey, did you hear that, Alistair? Come on.
Go ahead.
Wait,
Yeah, say it.
I'm making it up on the spot here. So.
If the shit hits the fan, twist the thing.
if shit hit, twist the thing. Well, do you want me to say it? I don't know.
Yeah, of course.
Oh, okay, good.
There we go. All
I'm
right.
trying to help.
I just got a weird reaction after I said it. I thought.
All right, off the rails emote, everybody. No. So you do receive this small device. It looks to be made of leather, but it's shaped like a balloon. And yeah, that's the note that it says, and there's a little metal twister dial on the side of it, and it seems pretty straightforward. It's probably just gonna blow up and inflate whenever you twist that.
Cool.
Yeah. All right. What else? Tim, what did you do for packing? What'd you bring for clothes? What'd you bring for anything, really?
Trench coat.
Tim cleaned himself up, cleaned his stuff, making sure his hat's nice and pristine if he's expecting to be out in the sun.
Mm-hmm.
And being of fairer flesh, I'm sure he would have acquired some sunscreen.
Some SPF 80 from Alistair.
212.
Beautiful. Okay. And Vera, what did you pack?
Well, so I actually, how much time has passed? I must ask you, and also
since you've been back.
Because the last time we left off, I was busy doing a thing.
That's true.
The new slime, possibly
with the bombastium.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's discuss that. Let's say it's been about 3 days since you returned from town.
Okay.
What do you feel should have happened with the slime in that time? Rhyme.
Well, if it was indeed like turning into the like strange arcane, like slime form, or like the oozes that you see around the world, she would have pursued that, maybe even without sleeping, until it finished or came to a head.
Okay. I can agree with that. So, did you have spells ready for this? Or is this something...
yeah, I mean, I can... Yeah, I took the spells.
Okay.
Or I wrote them down.
Okay, so let's say this.
Wasn't sure if it was going to be done.
When we left off, I think that we said that you noticed it had taken on some of the semi-sentient qualities of your other two slimes, Flu and Eco.
Mm-hmm.
Over the past 3 days, you've basically been restlessly trying to train this thing by leaving it with Flu and Eco during the night when you're doing other things and studying up on it, and then basically handling it as much as you can, getting various burns and singes all over your arms.
Yep. I'm gonna need some new armor.
So I think by the end of 3 days, you and this new semi-sentient slime seem to have an understanding, but you are nowhere near as, I guess, comfortable with each other as Flu and Eco. So it seems to have stopped burning you now that it knows that you're basically gonna be with it for its lifetime. It's basically accepted you for the most part. It's not your best friend yet.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Okay.
And I was under the impression that this one was bigger by a certain degree.
It's about the size of a I would say a small Jack Russell Terrier, and you can basically put it around your shoulders.
That's pretty bigger than the other two.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Cool.
That sounds good. So I guess I guess Vera's probably like, oh no, I forgot we're
To pack.
leaving, and then like grabs her small satchel or whatever, and then just stuffs a few extra clothes in it. Not even like, I don't need I guess I'll take a cloak, but I don't know. And then she'll like walk outside and be like,
Just like no sleep zombie.
yeah, with the new slime like hanging out and on her shoulders, and then the other two, I guess Flu is probably like somewhere on her head, and Eco might be like wrapped around her gauntlet or something.
Yeah.
We're just
Perfect.
covered in slimes.
What's the name of this? What's the name of this new slime?
So the new slime is called Base. Base. And she goes on to explain some magical stuff about how it does the, like, Flu and Eco do a lot of acid stuff.
Yeah.
And Base has the like exact opposite effect on magic.
Okay.
He like eats it, absorbs it, and then makes it go away, like dispelling sort of thing. So
Okay.
acid, base. That's where I got it.
So he's a bit of a nullifier. Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So
Could
it's
you
just
turn him into a cannon?
BASE? Sorry?
Could I? What?
Could you turn him into a cannon?
Yeah,
A base cannon?
Oh, man.
I was thinking all about that base. No trouble.
I don't get it, but
Oh.
sorry.
Links to be provided. Don't despair.
All right.
Yeah, all
All right, perfect. So I think that leaves, last but not least, Arthur. What have you been doing since your friend Mason has been stabilized?
Well, Arthur is very excited to go on this ship.
Mm-hmm.
For one, having been having currently and still being a tiefling, the sun doesn't bother him much, so he doesn't pack anything as far as like skin protection or anything like that. All he does is he grabs his little bag that he carries around, and he makes sure his rapier is on his hip, the one that he never uses, and he has his flute at the ready on his belt, and he stuffs his pack with food, a lot of peppers, a couple apples, no meat really to speak of, and then he puts on his sunglasses, and he went and found a really cool hat that it kind of like his horns go through it. So like he's able to like, but when he puts it on, he has to like put it on like from the front, so like it goes over his horns and then onto his head.
Nice.
So every time he takes this off, he does this cool little like flip with it.
Mm-hmm.
So he kind of walks out of his room and like Michael Jackson puts his hat on, and it's like this kind of like sombrero looking hat almost, like it's like wicker weave or whatever.
Yeah.
And he puts his shades on, and he just kind of putzes around the place until it's time to get on board.
Cool. Annie, are you okay?
Is that
Michael
the name
Jackson?
of the little
Sorry.
boy stuck in his book? Stuck in his
Yeah,
book?
then he just moonwalks like down the hallway and grabs his crotch and screams, and then just starts going
And
the ship.
screams.
Have you guys seen that scene, just off topic, in Devil May Cry 5 with Dante?
Not yet.
Nope.
You should.
Haven't played it yet.
It's good. That's why I asked Ken if he wants to drink on Saturday. So he can actually
Oh,
try
fair
it.
enough. One thing Arthur does do is he gets a similar hat for everyone in the party.
Yay.
Oh,
So different
God.
sizes. Yeah, so he gets like
Bjorn's gonna have 2 hats on.
yeah, so he gets Bjorn like the biggest hat though. Like this thing is huge. Like it's just super big. Like it's way
It's like
too
a big
big for
flop
anyone
hat.
other than Bjorn. Yeah, like he puts it on, it's like whoa, And he gets like Vera like a nice like normal looking hat that'll fit her properly. Like enough room for her hair to like be up in it if she wants to, that kind of thing. Tim's is just like it's like way too small for his head. So when Tim would put it on, it would kind of like sit like a little bit too high. It's just enough to keep the sun out of his eyes, basically.
Okay.
And then Tarvox is it's just like it's almost like it was made not all the way, like it wasn't trimmed up really nice. It's like it's just like a heavier, thicker hat that like a dwarf would probably enjoy wearing.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
so he just has one for everybody. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Very sturdy hat.
Awesome. All right. So you are all packed up, ready to go. You've got your sunscreen, you've got your bathing suits, you've got God knows what else you want to bring onto this cruise in terms of just fun things. And of course your regular adventuring gear as well. And you all line up into the main common area of the maintenance department where Bevington meets you that morning. And he says, okay, well, it's time to say goodbye. I know it's only a week. However, I will miss you guys again after the last episode we've had. I would prefer you all stay safe on this one. Terrorism or not. But try and have a good time, please. Mason, he's been recovering, as you all know, and I think hopefully we should see some progress by the time you're all back. Nice hat, Bjorn.
I was gonna go get another one, but I didn't want to leave.
Yeah, so during Bevan.
The nearest one I have is a mask. Oh, look.
Oh, God.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, my goodness. It's a palindrome.
It's amazing.
But I don't know if I can have this on at the same time. It gets hot.
It's a palindrome.
That would be.
It is a palindrome.
All right.
So during Bevington's conversation there, though, Arthur
you go.
hands out everyone's hats.
Yes. All
He
right.
just kind of.
Bevington looks at the sight of you and says, You six look hilarious, and I think this is going to be good for you all. Here's all your tickets, please. And he hands you out the tickets.
Isn't there only 5 of us?
What did I say?
6.
Yeah, Arthur looks around. He's like, "We added someone."
Did I miss someone?
So-
I only got.
Arthur,
My bad.
Doesn't
random
count all
stranger.
3 of the slimes as one person.
My
He
apologies.
finds a random stranger, and he's just like, "Welcome to the group, sir." It's like
What
random
color is your
stranger.
shirt? Is it red? It should be.
Correction. The 5 of you look ridiculous. But it's wonderful. So I hope you all have a wonderful time, and please be safe. And
I
he
am ready
bids you
for
all adieu.
vacation.
They're sending a dwarf on a boat. I don't think I'm going to be very safe, but I'll try.
Tarvok, did you bring your floaties?
I thought, well, I guess technically, yeah. I asked for something to make me buoyant, and Alistair sent me this. I'm going to keep it on me person.
Fascinating. What is
Yeah.
that? Let's see.
I'm pretty sure it's a. I guess we'll call it the floaty.
It is a float. Let's
Why not?
How does it work?
I think I pull on.
Well,
Go on, put your
should
face in
probably
it for a
test
second.
Okay.
Okay, and then I let it go.
And
We'll see how fast it inflates.
super fast, actually. It inflates and basically shoves Bjorn backwards. Roll Dex to try and stay on your feet, Bjorn. Both of you,
Okay.
actually, please.
Oh,
Of
like a
course.
deck save? Nice. I got a 19. 13 plus 3, or 13 plus 6.
Okay.
Don't forget, I'm dexterous, boy.
17.
Oh,
All right.
nice.
So this
15
thing
plus 2.
inflates to like 3 feet in diameter super rapidly, knocking you both backwards, and you both land on your feet, thankfully, again. And it's not deflating. You keep hitting the switch, but it's not deflating. It's on your arm, and you're just like waving this big leather inflated bag around.
Well, I figured your giant mass would stop it, but I guess not. So,
It is stronger than me. He looks at it sadly.
now you gotta bless it and give it a name.
Okay. So he pulls out his war paint and he puts on some like war paint designs. He's like, "You are Steven."
Stephen the floaty.
Fascinating contraption. And Arthur just starts heading on board, leaving everyone to deal with the now inflated thing.
Hold
Well,
on, I got an idea.
You're still at the
I'm
maintenance
just gonna-
department.
I'm gonna lift up this flap here for a second and see what happens.
Oh,
This is
Lord.
the best day ever.
as this thing deflates, underneath where Bjorn wrote Steven, you also read one use only.
Yep.
Well,
Oh, well, I suppose we need another one.
And Bevington, he looks at his pocket watch and he says, "If you don't hit the road now, you're going to miss your scheduled departure."
I don't want to be on the water
We need
anyway.
another one of... Send it in the teleportation ball.
I
Yeah, if you'd be so kind.
I'll
I mean,
see what I
Bjorn
can
has
do.
everything on him.
I do.
He's even got the chicken.
I do.
The charred
make sure-
chicken.
Just make sure to bring Steven too.
Okay.
Not this Steven, I mean Steven 2, the new one. Just send him in the ball.
Jesus. All right.
Steven
The numbers are just
Jr..
gonna keep accruing.
So you all disembark from the maintenance department and you make your way down the mountain. It takes about, I'll say you leave about 6:30 in the morning from the maintenance department, and you make it to Erebor at about 1 p.m. We'll say. Your tickets that you all receive from Bevington, they all have the departure time is 1:30 actually, so you all make it there just in time, and you see a small lineup forming kind of close to the far banks of Erebor. If you guys don't know Erebor, it's built on the side of a river, a very wide river, and it kind of banks down towards the shore. When you look down towards the shore at the docks, you don't see anything except for a couple of small skiffs and a couple of dinghies and a couple of small fishing boats. Nothing that really resembles a cruise liner as of yet. So you figure, you know what? Okay, I guess it's about to show up and pick us up, and then we'll take off. And you see this small lineup of people. There's a family of what appears to be 4 people standing in the lineup. They're right at the front. They must have camped overnight or something. And then there's just a few handfuls of couples. There's maybe 3 or 4 couples, and there's a couple of people by themselves. But they all look very different, we'll say, than you guys. They look very posh, we'll say. Everybody, except for the small family at the front, who they look fairly average, but they're dressed nicely. They seem to be a half-elf family, and they're right at the front of the line, and what appears to be the father is just standing there kind of checking the sundial on his wrist and looking at the small ticket booth that's set up there, and it's got its little roll shutter down. And you all line up in the back, and there's a small voice from in front of you saying, "Are you excited?" And you look around and you can't see anybody facing you until you look down. And you see a very small halfling, a man, and he's just looking up at the group of you with absolute excitement. And he's dressed quite nice. He's in what appears to be business attire. He says, hello, my name is Clarence. Nice to meet you."
Hello.
Arthur holds out his finger to shake hands with him.
And he grabs your finger and kind of up and down gives a good shake, and he says, "Are you all a family of sorts?"
You can say yes.
I suppose we could say that we're a family, yeah.
Interesting. I came alone. I like to travel myself. I'm actually incredibly excited. I got a very, very coveted spot on the RMSS Catatonic. I'm super, super excited to spend some time with you all this week. What's the first thing you think you'll do?
Okay,
Swim.
pause. Gotta ask you something. Arthur feels he's been one-upped by somebody who has class. So what do I know about my cabin first class status? I mean, I am royalty after all. So what does Arthur know about anything that he can try to one-up this guy?
What do you know? All you know about cabins and I guess classification is the map pamphlet that you were given earlier today, which is with your tickets. And for those of you watching, if you go into our Discord, you can find that map pamphlet as well. Here, let me just put a invite link in the chat. It is in the general chat there. You guys can have a look at the map. So that is basically all you know. You guys didn't get a whole lot of information from MC Hobo other than that you're supposed to be undercover for the most part on this. You're not to tell anybody that you're on a mission. You're just there for vacation, basically.
Okay, so on that note, yeah, Arthur, when he asks that Arthur goes to, like, I guess, divulge everything, and then he stops himself, and he's just like, well, it is a vacation, so I suppose, yes, Bjorn, I will swim, most likely.
Do they have a pool on this?
And the little halfling man looks at his map and he says, it looks like they have a really large one up at the top level. I can't wait.
That makes no sense. Why would you put water in a boat?
So you're talking to someone who's basically Mr. Literal. You're not going to win there at the half pint, so I don't know what to tell you. We're going to get drunk, and I mean, me and the big red fella, we're just going to have a drinking contest. While our angsty friend, who is like our stepson, is just going to sit there in his top hat and mope because he didn't want to leave. He wanted to stay home.
He will probably turn invisible.
We had him bring his girlfriend, and she brought their favorite pet, and that's
already shipping to Indira.
It's been a very weird time for us.
Oh, this is the worst episode of the Griswolds I've ever seen.
So embarrassed.
Wait, is Bjorn? What is Bjorn in this family?
His stepson.
Who is my father?
We told him that he was born from a rock, and he believed it. We left your grand boulder at home, Bjorn.
Yeah,
Bjorn,
you guys,
it's okay.
You guys
Bjorn,
need to get your backstory straight later on.
This is our undercover mission going well.
And so this small halfling man, Clarence, he's just kind of looking between all of you as you're all discussing who you are to each other, and he just kind of.
I feel like we forgot he's there, so we're kind of like pushing him away as we all get into a circle, and we're trying to like figure out what's going on.
And he goes,
"Oh, wait, hold on.
Yeah.
Arthur, we forgot about the little guy. Can you just throw him in the water?"
Little guy.
Who are we talking about?
It's Half Pint there. Who's asking us?
Oh, the
hello.
Arthur like turns back and looks down, like, "Oh my! How long have you been there? Do you have more important things to do?"
And he's just like in shock now at how weird and crazy you all sound. He just goes, I suppose I'll see you at the poolside eventually. I don't know how there's water on this boat. I guess we'll see when it shows up. And he folds up his map and he just kind of shuffles ahead of you guys a little bit. Right at that second. Right at that second.
Now you've scared him off.
We all pretend that we're absolutely insane this entire trip. And it's going to, I'm going to get drunk the second we get on there.
That'll work. You drink, you swim. I'll find the ballroom and possibly do some dancing. And it'll be a lovely time. No one will know Tim is even here. He'll probably be invisible for most of this.
Unless MC Hobo's playing something sad. And
I'm thinking about it already.
Tim, I suppose. Well, Tim, if you look, they actually labeled the guard quarters on the pamphlet. I suppose there's some important information we can find out in there.
That is kind of odd.
Isn't it?
Not the most secure method of information.
Not how I would have handled it.
I am going to go break into other people's rooms.
Bjorn.
With my bag of holding.
That is a wonderful idea. Actually, that is a wonderful idea. If we search all the rooms, then there's no doubt we'll find the whoever. What are we here for again?
Terrorists.
Terrorists?
Yes.
Who are they terrorizing?
I don't know how they're going to enact terror, but Terrorists.
trying to blow up the boat or something.
Oh, they're trying to blow it up? That's
They're
terrifying.
Trying to do
Why
a
are-
fireball, but big.
This is not a vacation then.
No,
Well, it's we're on a job. I mean,
we
this
have
is
to
what-
pretend
This is
that
this
we
is
are on a
absolutely
vacation.
horrendous.
Not really. No, I think you've got the best idea though. I think we should all go about it and just keep in touch with each other as best we can, but try and have a mini vacation and stop what we can. I mean, we're going to be
And
out in the
not
water.
that-
Let's just throw people over.
If the boat happens to blow up,
I mean, if we do throw everyone overboard, I suppose there'll be nobody left to terror.
Do you
Nice.
think that if the boat blows up, that I can teleport all the water to Bevington?
I doubt
how
it.
How big is the boat?
It's
You
haven't seen
right
it
in
yet.
front of us,
actually.
right? No.
From what
How
you've
big is
seen at
this
the
boat?
docks, there's only a couple of small boats at the docks right now.
Oh, okay.
and-
Yeah, that's what I thought you said.
So you all actually are standing there discussing all of your plans and your backstory and whatnot, and all of a sudden the roll shutter on that ticket booth snaps up, and you see a very stoic-looking elven man standing behind it in full uniform.
Luckily,
And-
I'm a stoic human.
Yes. And you both kind of
Born
see
from
each
a
other
rock.
across the line, and you give each other a quick nod, and your hat flops around when you do the nod. And behind this elven man are two other elves, both in uniform as well, but he seems to clearly outrank them. In a very, very straightforward voice, he says, "Ticket holders, please come up to the booth, take your tickets out, have us stamp them, and then you can go over and disembark with us shortly." And he puts his arm out to the right of the bank, and instead of looking down towards the river, you all look off to the right at the cliffs. And all of a sudden, you haven't noticed it yet, you see a massive, about 500 feet long, 100 feet wide boat floating against the cliff.
I
And
don't
above
think
it-
Bevington could take care of all the water that could fit in this boat.
And above it
Might
is
as well try.
two very, very large balloons attached by very, very large cables on either end of the boat. And then you see just propellers just hanging listfully at the back of it.
It's a fucking airship.
I'm suddenly more okay with this vacation.
So,
It's like,
incidentally, being a dwarf, you know, you sink like a stone, you also fall like a stone. So, well, I don't think I'm getting as drunk as I thought I was going to be on this flight.
I think throwing everyone overboard might be the worst of ideas at this point.
I think so. I mean, letting them be chum is one thing, but letting them be, I don't know, paste is another.
Yes, we should eliminate
have-
that from the ideas.
I
All
have
right, let's-
no plan.
We
if
could try to make a
the
painting on the
airship
ground.
blows up.
Tim has an idea. We could make paintings.
We could.
If we wanted to, I don't know, like, make a cover for a metal band, but
Maybe
it's
it
more
could
like
be
spatter
MC.
paint.
Were you going to
So
say
let's
MC
just-
Hobo's album cover?
Yeah.
Straight fire. All right,
it's just
so
bodies in the flames. Like, it just looks like spaghetti.
Alright, well, Vera's gonna walk up with her ticket, I guess. if
all right,
there's-
so you notice the
ability.
family that's first. They get their tickets punched, and the kids, the small kids, it's two boys actually. They look to be maybe 8 and 10. They go sprinting ahead towards the ship, and the dad goes, "Slow down." "Oh man, is this gonna be the whole trip?" And the mom just kind of smiles over at them, and they all just walk towards the ship. The rest of the people
So-
kind of follow suit. What's up?
So I hold everybody back for just 1 second.
Okay.
I go, so if they're both half elves, are their kids full elves or full humans?
One would be full elf and one would be
Both?
full human.
No, I believe
So
they're
they'd be
a quarter human.
Elven.
I don't
Elven?
think that's...
Elf. Human.
Maybe. Oh, it's a third. It's a third
The-
elf and a third human.
And a third, what else?
What did I eat for
Ah.
breakfast? I'm still drunk from the other day. Alright, look, I'm done with questions. Let's go.
Okay.
All right, so you all eventually make your way up to the ticket booth, and once Clarence the Halfling is gone from in front of you, let me just write that down so I don't forget his name.
Clarence.
Clarence.
Clarice.
Going to be
No.
the first one to die.
Oh no, I'm
He,
gonna protect him so I make fun of him for being a halfling.
As he waddles away with his large luggage on wheels, you all approach this ticket booth together, and you see the half-elf man with the epaulets on his shoulders. He's starting to pull the shutter down as you arrive, and he stops when he sees you, and he looks at his clipboard, and he kind of pulls the shutter back up, and he says, "And who are you?"
We are the first class passengers, of course.
My name is Bjorn. We have tickets.
I have tickets.
I'm going to show him my ticket.
He kind of leans back towards one of his cronies and just puts his hand up, and he mumbles something that you guys can't quite hear. And they seem to kind of straighten up a little bit more. And he looks you all up and down, and he says, there are no first class quarters. Everything is the same. Who the hell are you? And why do you have these forged tickets?
I am Bjorn. This is my ticket.
Arthur kind of like holds like Bjorn's hands down, like pushes his hand down a little bit, just so like the ticket isn't like held up anymore. And
I'm gonna
Arthur
look at
just
the
goes-
ticket like this doesn't look forged. I was given this ticket.
What he's
For
trying to
once-
say is
for
we're supposed
once,
to be on this ship.
I want-
absolutely.
I want to be sneaky enough to get behind Tim and force him to the front to bullshit for us. He's like, go on, do your thing. Do it. I'll stop touching you if you fucking get us on the boat.
So you're all kind of, again, doing your comedic little fucking with each other, and he's not looking impressed, this elven lieutenant,
Well,
it
I'm
seems.
trying to convince this guy to
Mhm.
believe me, but
Yeah, so you know what? Roll deception, then.
24.
Okay. He looks down again at his clipboard, and he kind of seems super confused, and he looks back and forth at his two cronies, and he goes, I don't know. Okay, the tickets, they seem to look legit. Who gave you these?
MC Hobo.
And he goes, I see. Yeah, okay, that explains it. He constantly tries to get his friends on the boat. Are you just like his friends that he promised a sweet ride for? Because we try not to fill to capacity as much as we can.
No.
Yeah, he promised us first class, but I suppose, well, we're here to celebrate his success. Arthur kind of like looks around at everybody like, maybe that'll work?
Okay, roll deception again.
I was just gonna say we're his bodyguards.
25.
Okay. And he says, you know what? You seem like a straight shooter. Okay, yeah. I guess I'll let it slide this time. I mean, this is the second voyage of the ship. The first
You can
official.
always give us a job, and we can do it that way if it makes you feel better. I will do it. They can.
And as you're saying that, you hear a voice from behind the shack saying, they already have a job. And a very large man, maybe about 6'2", 230 pounds.
I'm taller than him.
Yep, you are. Dressed in a captain's uniform, comes wheeling around the corner by the ticket booth. And he says, don't worry, Tuchable. We will be accepting these people. I'll brief you later on. And he turns towards all of you and he says, welcome to the Catatonic. I am the captain. Please follow me. And he kind of addresses you all as he brings you down the same path that everyone else went down. Notes. All right.
I am so waiting to make a Pirates of the Caribbean reference.
But why is the rum gone?
Stop blowing holes in my ship!
So of course, Lieutenant, from it sounds like his name was Tuchable. He seems a little confused, but he goes with it. He's not gonna, I guess, dispute what the captain says. And he just says, all right then, let's go. And he kind of slams the shutter down and hops out of the booth and follows you guys all towards the ship. You make it to the embarkment ramp, and you start walking up onto the side of the boat, and all of a sudden you all just feel a shudder. And the captain says, don't worry about that. That's just, really, it's just this thing. It's not the most stable until we start actually gaining altitude.
I wasn't worried until you said that.
It's just minor shudders as we get the engines going, I promise. And he turns to all of you and he says, now, would you all like some of my men to take your luggage, please? And he kind of points to your guys' bags.
No.
It's quite all right. So we're quite capable of taking our own luggage, actually.
I don't want you to touch my stuff.
And
Fear's like...
The only one with a large bag. He just hands it over.
And as one of the men that are standing with the lieutenant start to reach for it, the lieutenant himself goes, oh, I'll take that. And he turns towards the elven woman in front of him. And he says, they call me Lieutenant Tuchable, but you can call me Jesus. And he kisses you on the hand.
I think one of the slimes is like...
He recoils a little bit and with like some disgust on his face, but he's like,
oh, sorry.
I will ensure this gets to your quarters, madam. And he just kind of...
Arthur leans over to Tarvok and he whispers, he goes, did he just say his name was Too Terrible?
No, I think he said Tachanka.
Said Tachanka?
I think he's got a weirder accent than I do.
I agree. His name's... anyway.
He is suspicious.
And Veer is just like... Man in uniform.
And immediately, just
really
going
tall.
off the rails one more time, all I can think of is Vera now has 4 slimes. And
Oh, terrible. I'm gonna move on from that. And so,
you're welcome.
Lieutenant Jesus Tuchable, he takes Vera's bag, and his 2 men follow suit because, of course, you guys don't want your bags taken. And the captain says, well, I mean, you need to make sure that you pick up that other one there, big one. I don't know how you're not carrying both, but your bag is on the ground. And you look down, and there's an extra bag on the ground that you guys forgot about. And
that is not my bag. My bag is right here.
Yeah, throw it overboard. We don't need it.
I'm gonna grab it. I'm going to grab it. This is my bag now.
all right. Seems someone left their luggage there, and he goes,
we should maybe take a look at that and make sure it's yours.
I'm going to check this bag for security reasons. I'm going to see what's inside this bag.
okay. Roll me an investigation.
Okay.
That is the best Peter Griffin noise I've ever heard.
That was pretty good.
Let me pull up my anchor. Okay. I got it 20.
Oh, for fuck.
Oh my lord.
That's a
Finds
second
a
20
bomb,
today.
job done.
All right, so this bag it's a hard shell bag.
Oh my god, okay.
You zip it open and kind of flip open the top lid, and you're determining what's in there, and the captain's just standing there flabbergasted as to why you're checking the bag right now. He assumes it's yours. You go through and you kind of filter through some regular looking travel clothes, some swimsuits, a couple bottles of booze, a little bit
Is
of
there anything terroristic in here?
a little bit of smoking herb, and a couple of beach toys, and a ticket.
Herb.
A ticket for the cruise is there, and as well as some other paperwork kind of stuffed inside the pamphlet with the map in it. As you keep kind of flicking through the stuff, you don't really find any ID or anything like that. But because of your 20 on your investigation check, you get to the bottom of this bag, and you notice a small notch and a false bottom.
This is why I investigate bags.
Are you going to
Open
it right now in front of the captain, or are you going to leave it, or?
I'm going to leave it, and I'm going to say, it's safe.
And the captain
Yes,
says,
this bag belongs to me.
Right?
well, I certainly hope it's safe. You didn't bring anything extreme. I know exactly why you're all here, but, I mean, I still want to ensure the safety of my passengers in the event things...
It was unattended, and who knows, a bad person could stick something in an unattended bag.
I
Right.
think that's why we shouldn't bring it on the ship.
I checked it, it's safe.
As a side note, Tim's gone.
For fuck's sakes.
Arthur like realizes at that moment too. He's like, okay, yeah, there goes, yeah, he's gone.
Wait, did
All right, Bjorn, I suppose I trust your instincts. And he pats like Bjorn on like the bicep. Yeah, he can't reach his shoulder. That's like way the hell up there. So
Vera, you had a question?
I was gonna ask, did Tim cast a spell?
Or did you just dip?
Yeah, no,
you went invisible?
That's a spell slot.
Oh, for fuck's sakes. All of a sudden you hear a random splash from the pool on the top deck. No. Alright, so, the captain, after you saying basically that it was your bag and then basically that it was left unattended, he goes, well, I suppose I can get one of my ushers to bring it to the Lost and Found. Do you want me to take care of that?
No.
Okay. You are all strange operators, but...
You are a strange captain, sir. We will all get along just fine.
I apologize. I still haven't introduced myself. I'll give you all a proper briefing later, but... My name is Captain Carmel Exo, but my friends call me Shark Hunter. And he puts his hand out to shake all of your hands.
Hey.
Oh, I know that name!
I know that name! I know that name!
He hunts shark! I know, he's a shark that hunts!
And you don't know Mr. Jesus Tuchable? Put it together, put it together.
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
Jesus.
I got
feel
that
like you
one.
might be
I got
touchable.
that one.
Alright. Max is embarrassed.
I like Chable.
Alright, so he puts his hand out to shake all your hands. Touchable Jesus.
Oh!
Man, hang on. It went over my head up there somewhere. I think it's up there. I don't know.
Over here being like
Yeah, okay. So that one just whoosh.
Yeah.
Alright.
What the Jesus? I knew it was Jesus.
I knew it was Jesus,
Yeah,
so I
not that
didn't
too,
think
but-
T'Challa.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Alright.
Well done, sir.
That one was
It's
a
quite
nice.
the job.
Alright, so
That
you
one
all
was nice and hidden.
you all introduce yourselves to the captain, and he says, alright, well, I will have a couple men show you to your quarters, and please make sure that you make it to the opening night with Mr. Hobo. He will be performing a little bit, and then, of course, telling everybody the itinerary for the next week of the cruise. I hope you are all prepared for the potential of what could happen.
What is the potential?
Is the pool closed?
Bjorn.
Behind the captain, you just hear, and you think we're not prepared.
And he just kind of turns around and he says, well, I suppose you have some tricks up your sleeve, but
Well, that
listen,
one's nothing but
Who are you
tricks.
talking to?
please, I
I
saw
did
him
not-
here beforehand, but yes.
I hear no voices.
You're all very funny. Please be at the briefing after the opening ceremonies. I wish you to be at the briefing. You can go offload your stuff into your rooms. The briefing will just be me, you all, and then of course Mr. Tuchable. He is still yet to be in the know. It's kind of a mum's the word operation, of course. And I had to send my entertainment crew to actually recruit for this, so I'm playing it by ear. I don't know if we're going to have any trouble this voyage, however, we've received intel that it's possible.
Well, the four of us will be there, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
There are 6 of you. Don't make that joke.
There are 6 of us. Did we-
I mean
thought-
5. I apologize. I was never good at math. I used to be a pirate ahead of time. I'm sorry.
That's so.
Yarr.
How can you trust that there's Never mind.
Indeed.
How about we're just gonna drop our things off and go see Hobo and make fun of him for a little bit.
Please do. You're making me old brain hurt. And he sends you all up the gangplank, and as you all continue up the side of the gangplank, another engine shutter.
I'm
What's
going
up?
to be sprinting to my room
Okay.
with my bag. I have to check this bag.
So
Bjorn, I don't know if we have an actual room.
yeah, you haven't been shown to your rooms yet, and you sprint ahead of the ushers that are waiting at the top. And as the engine like does its little shutter again as you're all getting on board, you run right past the one usher that has holding like a sign for you, kind of like at the airport, and he kind of goes and he follows you, and the rest of you all get linked up with an usher, and you all find yourselves, and I'm gonna pull open the map here. You all find yourselves coming in from the starboard side. Basically, where you embarked was on the starboard side between the galley and the passengers area, also known as PAX on the map. There are 4 ushers there, and Bjorn, yours starts following you down the hallway, and you eventually reach the 3rd room down on the right side, so on the top side on the map. So 3rd in from the right, top side is Bjorn.
Yeah.
Oh, I need to actually look at this map, don't I?
Mm-hmm.
A little bit.
Making me do work.
The 2nd in from the right, Arthur and Tim, you find that you actually had to double bunk. I need to write this down too.
Arthur doesn't say anything about that because Tim's invisible anyway. He just
Yeah.
kind of like reads it and he's like, "Well, I'm throwing all the furniture in the hallway anyway, so."
Across from
You
Bjorn's
shall not.
room, across from
What?
Bjorn's room is Vera's room,
Yes.
and then
Arthur's just spinning his hands out in a circle again. I'll find Tim.
and then further down the hall, so it would be the 2nd from the left on the top end, is Tarvok. And those are all of your rooms. As you are being ushered to your rooms, you also notice a few of the stragglers, as in Clarence and the small family. Tarvok, you're actually basically right next to the small family, and that's the one at the end on the top. And then directly next to Vera, to the left of Vera's room, so that would be 4th over on the bottom from the right. That is Clarence's room, from what you can tell. My goodness.
Oh, so many things.
Yes, there are going to be a lot of things. This map is going to come in handy for you guys quite a lot. So if you guys are following along and you want to keep track, go into the Discord. I'll paste that link again for you. And you guys can go ahead and download a copy of that map from there.
With the look down for like 30 seconds.
Gonna be a cowboy.
I'm the only one without some sort of facial hair, so now I have a beard.
There
That's
you
just
go.
because we can't see close enough to your upper lip, though.
That's not a
Wish I had a purple beard.
You can.
dude. Me too.
Get the box
I don't know,
dye!
that's a good idea. I've never thought of trying to dye my beard. Maybe I'll do that for opening day for the Tigers.
There you go.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry, sidebar.
Yeah.
Mine isn't facial hair, it's syrup. Correct.
It's syrup. You can't afford syrup anymore.
Oh,
And the
that's
3rd
true.
snow.
So
Keep stealing
so
all of mine.
did Bjorn continued running, right? Is that-
Yes. And
I went to my room.
and Bjorn, I'm gonna say that you ran basically all the way down the hallway, and when you got to the end, you just went, "Oh, right, I don't know what room I'm in," and you turn around and you
No,
see.
I would run all the way to the end of the hallway, turn very slowly, and wait for the usher with my hands crust.
And the usher comes around the corner by the time you're at the end and stops at your room, which is the third on the top from the right-hand side. And you got a long ways back to walk.
I walk all the way up to him, and I give him a big pat on the back, and I reach in and I give him 1 gold piece.
Perfect. Please remove that from
And
your
you
character
tell
sheet.
him he's doing a great job.
You are doing a great job. And I walk in my room and close the door.
And after the pat on the back,
Really hard.
as you're closing the door, all you hear is, "Thank you." All right.
You gotta roll a d6 for that, Pat. That's a lot of damage on a civilian.
Nah, he's
I
fine.
want to see how. Let me see.
Okay, sure.
I rolled an 18 plus 4 to smack this guy on the back.
Jesus. All right, then I'm gonna roll.
Now
You
your
roll me a
D6
D4,
to see.
please. A D4.
Okay.
It was
three,
open hand.
3.
Okay. He's definitely sore. You swear you heard a little pop when you smacked him on the back.
Dislocated his spine a little bit. He'll be fine.
Yeah, he doesn't need that. I'm dead.
He had scoliosis. Now he's better.
He fixed one.
The healing touch of Thor. Slap.
Oh my god, a Bjorn is a cleric. That's perfect.
All right.
Healing slap.
I'm going to look at what's inside. I'm going to make sure. I'm going to quickly look over the entire room. Oh no, my beard. And then I'm going to look in the secret compartment of the bag.
Okay. As you're all looking throughout your rooms, they're all appointed pretty much identically, actually, all with the exception of Tim and Arthur. You all notice that there's a very, very fancy looking window with super thick glass, almost as if it's prepared for the heavy weather of being out at sea, if you will, or maybe even going through some thunderclouds if it has to happen. They kind of resemble, sorry, geez, words are hard today. They resemble the portholes on a very, very strong submarine. Your doors to your rooms are also quite sturdy. They have almost like a submarine style twist latch, which isn't really necessary, but it kind of adds to the aesthetic of this place. And you pop into your rooms, and they're beautiful. They're absolutely beautiful. The most plush carpet you've ever seen in your life, of a deep maroon red. And you have beautiful plants all around the room, a few just hand-painted pictures on the walls, and of course a very, very large 4-post bed with like curtains that hang down from it. Except Tim and Arthur, you also have in your room this basic,
Please be a bunk bed.
ratty old pull-out couch. And it is not a bunk bed, unfortunately. There is the 4-post bed, but there's also a pull-out couch that seems to have just been added to the room when they realized they had to double book you. So this
Oh, go ahead.
well, this ship is full, we'll say, from the looks of it. And these rooms are some of the most beautiful quarters most of you have ever stayed in, except for you, Arthur. You being royalty, you've stayed in some pretty posh stuff, but it is very adequate for you.
How adequate?
Telling me it's adequate, huh? Because Arthur walks in that room, and he walks up to the 4-post bed, and he just kind of like hits the wood. And he's like, "This is garbage. It's cheap wood. Wood from where I'm from is much better quality than this." He looks over at the pull-out couch.
mahogany.
This is mahogany. And then he looks over at the pull-out couch, and he's like, "I don't believe we brought any pets along, did we?" And then he just kind of like keeps walking through the room.
No, Fred,
He looks
that's
out-
for you.
He looks out the view, and he's just like, "This won't do at all." And he kind of starts shoving furniture around, and he actually pulls down the curtains off of the top of the 4-post bed and everything, and he starts tying the curtain to like the top of the 4-post, and he's gonna find a way to tie the curtain to somewhere else in the room. He's gonna make a hammock out of it. And he just kind of takes his bag and he kind of throws it up into the hammock, and then he crawls up there and jumps in it and lays down in it, and he just looks blankly at a random spot in the room and focuses, expecting Tim to be right in that spot. And he just goes, "You can do whatever with this junk." And Arthur just kind of puts his hands on his chest and he closes his eyes and takes like a quick 5-minute nap.
So did you just stepbrothers it and make bunk beds?
I did.
Yep.
Yup.
Did you and Tim just become best friends?
Yep.
You
There's
want to
so
go do
much room
karate
for
in the,
activities
in
down
the...
there.
I wish I had seen that movie.
Oh, you need to.
You want to go do karate in the ballroom?
Yep.
All I know
Oh,
of
it's
that
a drum
film
set.
is the fan animation someone did of the voice actors for Goku and Vegeta doing that entire exchange.
Yes, that was lovely.
That would actually be funny. I should look that up.
All right, so everyone's kind of going over their rooms, getting settled in, and we're gonna cut over to Bjorn's room as you are setting this strange suitcase down on the kind of suitcase bench in the room. You zip it back open, you kind of toss all the clothes out, I'm assuming, and get to that false bottom again. When you open it up, what you find is concerning, to say the least. You find a battle axe with a handle that has been basically extended down in the bottom of it. You didn't
So
really...
I have an extendo axe?
That's
Collapsible.
not concerning. That's awesome.
I know! That's so cool!
I mean, I'm jealous.
The craftsmanship of this axe is quite familiar, but it's so strange
I'm
looking.
going to try and figure it out.
You think that maybe it's something to do with your Norse mythology that you've noticed before. It's got these strange inscriptions on the side of it. Not really words, but just like carvings of pictures and trees and whatnots all along the side of it. Just interesting mandala style designs. And the handle does extend back out as you test it out. It's very sturdy still. But the handle has been modified in a way to fit into this suitcase. What are you pointing to there, Tarvok?
I don't know.
Jeez.
This is taking too long. Sorry.
All right, Merovingian,
feels
thank you
weird.
so much for the follow. Welcome to the Ret-Con-Artists channel. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Anyways, so
Oh,
next
hey,
to the
thanks.
battle axe is a small, almost like a plastic wrapped package, but it's not plastic. It's kind of like a rice papery, kind of weird waterproof feeling thing. And as you kind of unfurl the top of it and reach inside, you pull out another package filled with a putty-like substance, a solid putty-like substance, and then you pull out even more little devices that just seem to have little, I guess, timers on them.
I'm going to open the door and I'm going to scream, Arthur! And
Freaking plastic explosive.
I'm across the
I
way.
found him.
So
I imagine we
I
all
also
hear.
am going to scream
yeah.
everyone else's name, but Arthur's going to be the first one.
Arthur snaps awake and his hammock like falls out and hits the ground, and
Yes.
he just
that's
kind of looks
exactly
around and he says, "I hope Tim was not here to see that. I'm sure he has more important things to do." And he just kind of like grabs his pack and kind of like goes to walk out of the room. Then he heads down towards Bjorn. Okay, all right. And Arthur
So-
just goes.
I'm going to just basically go and scream in front of everyone's door till they come out and go inside.
Well, before you do that,
Whoever says anything, we are having a meeting.
you do notice that these devices that you found within the bag, as you take a closer inspection of them, they're not ticking, they're not making any noises. It seems to be inert. None of it's all connected. It just seems like the makings of what could potentially be a bomb.
We may have already completed our mission.
But yeah, none of it's really connected. It's just
What did
kind of
you
like the
find?
components of it.
Okay.
So Arthur like looks over all the components. I assume we're all there at this point, right?
Yes, we'll say that much.
Yeah, alright.
I didn't get to say, but
Mhm.
I would.
Yeah, go ahead.
Vera would have, when she closed her door, she's gonna start casting detect magic over the next 10 minutes.
Okay.
So I might not have come out by then.
I would have screamed. I would have knocked.
Yeah.
And then I would be He is busy.
Well, I took a 5-minute-ish nap anyway, is what Arthur would have done. So it's been probably 5-6 minutes before he gets to Bjorn's room anyway.
Sure.
Plus
So
the time of
as
moving all the shit
everyone's
around.
getting
10
in
minutes
there,
may have gone by.
yeah. So as we get in there, Vera, you're just heading down the hallway as everyone's kind of discussing what you found out with your detect magic. We'll say is just a very heavy presence of magic at the top of the ship, seeming to be coming from the balloons. And then
it only goes 30 feet, just so you know.
Oh, does it? Okay,
Yeah.
so nothing from the top of the ship. Really, you get actually nothing in the 30 feet circumference that you cast text magic. You don't really notice anything, actually.
Okay. It does last 10 minutes.
Okay.
I'll just, note.
Perfect. All right.
Ret-Con, nothing from the top of the ship.
So you all head into Bjorn's room, and you all look over this device.
I found this at the bottom of the bag. This is why they could not take my bag. It's my bag now.
Well, that's fine, but I mean,
I'm also
What-
keeping this axe.
what else was in the rest of the bag, Bjorn?
There was a ticket, there were papers, and there was a very nice, pretty swimsuit I'm going to use.
And there were,
But that axe.
there were
I
toys as well, wasn't there?
Floaty toys, do you want them?
No. So, I mean, clearly we're looking at people who are here with their kids. I mean, it's more than just one group. We have to find someone with matching bags.
What if it was that family with that guy that was talking to us?
It could be, but I mean,
Clarence wasn't a part of the family, just to clarify.
yeah, no, we know.
We are ahead of
Clarence fine.
ourselves, though. What do we know about this axe is what I'm curious of.
It does this!
magic.
Extends. Unextends. Extends.
Fascinating. Let me. Can you do it again?
Yes.
Fascinating.
Look, the axe
Okay,
is
yeah.
cool and all, but we've got gunk with wires, and it looks like something that tells numbers.
Is this
Well,
that
you know-
stuff you put on the newspaper and it'll kind of imprint itself?
Listen, I grew up in the woods. I don't know anything about newspaper.
Oh no, we used to. Yeah, you can make it, and
I
maybe
think
that's what this is.
this is a bomb part. This is
Oh.
it explodes whenever
Oh,
you
this is the
connect
terror.
this. Yeah, this is the terror we've been finding. We
Let's
need to
gotta
find
find
more
more
of this
terrorism.
terror.
So
Okay.
chances are then more.
Froze.
She did freeze. It's a wonderful pose.
Oh, that was a
I
great
died.
spot to be frozen.
I died.
You were
I wait.
frozen just.
Vera's like, well, it's not magic. So it's some
We
kind
think
of
that maybe-
alchemy.
Just a bag of stuff?
I would like to take a closer look at all of this stuff.
Sure.
Just like, how does it work? Maybe kind of see how it might be put together, sort of deal.
Okay, roll.
You can have your slimes eat it.
While they're doing
I
that,
mean, that's true. They would eat it, probably.
while they're doing that, I'd like to go out and see if I can hear anybody discussing about the fact that they're missing a bag.
Sure, yeah, okay. You go walk out into the hallway, and while you're doing that, please roll me a perception check, I guess.
Sure. See if I've got anything in that.
So while you're rolling that perception check, Vera, you do go through the bag and the rest of the contents. And what'd you roll?
I got a 15.
Okay.
14 plus 1.
Okay. All right, Vera, yes, you do go through the bag and the rest of the contents. You notice the axe, you kind of look it over. It too seems kind of familiar with all the inscriptions and stuff on it. And then you kind of flick through all the clothes. It seems to be some random traveler's clothes. Like it doesn't really tell you if it's a man or a woman. It kind of looks like man clothing. And then because it's fairly average to large in size, I guess. And as you inspect the little fold of papers in the map, you notice the ticket, and you also notice a small pamphlet fall out of this folded up ticket map combo. And the rest of you in the room all look at this pamphlet on the ground and immediately recognize it. It is a pamphlet for the maintenance department saying December 5th.
It's December?
Yeah. Have questions, dig deeper, fight harder, fight fiercer, work harder, be better.
But like the original pamphlet?
It is identical to the pamphlet you all had found originally.
Oh, well,
Why would
I don't recognize that then.
Why would
Oh, right, yes. Sorry.
Why would the maintenance department be giving terrorists a pamphlet?
I can think of somebody who seemed like a terrorist.
On the edge of the pamphlet, as you all look closer, there is a tiny small spattering of blood on the corner of it.
Does anyone know how to track blood?
I would also like to know.
Tarvok sniffs it.
I can smell the
a
alcohol.
wonderful sense of smell.
Sorry, Tim, you were saying?
I would also like to note that Tim only recently entered the room.
Okay.
And while he was out, he had his ears to the wall, and I actually have a feat known as criminal contact.
Okay.
Which I don't know how
I didn't
you want
know
me
we
to...
were doing feats.
I don't even.
He means the background.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thing.
Sure.
No,
Go ahead.
never mind. Maybe I'm doing that wrong, but either way, so it's just that Tim's got a reliable, trustworthy contact who acts as a liaison to other criminal networks. You know, like that whole insider information.
Right. You know a guy.
While he was out, he was looking around to see if or hear if he could find anybody that would be on the inn to find any information. Is there anything that I can? You see what I'm trying to get at here?
Kind of like thieves' cant in a way. Is how I've always thought of it.
All right.
Like you just kind of know.
You know when someone's got that look, they're your guy kind of thing. Okay.
Yep.
All right. So I'm gonna cut to Tarvok before I cut to yours. Tarvok, you're wandering through the hallways and you're kind of like trying to be, I guess, like inconspicuous.
Oh no!
I'm
I'm not trying to be inconspicuous. I'm just being a drunk dwarf just walking around because there's no way I can be inconspicuous.
That's fair.
Based on how I'm dressed, and I mean I'm smart enough to know that, but I'm smart enough to know if I think I'm drunk, then if I'm walking in the doors, oh, I'm really sorry. I've been drinking since we got on here. Terrified of heights.
Okay. So you're just basically like running into doors, putting your ear up against it kind of thing, listening for a second and then walking away.
Yes. Smack. And if I don't hear anything good, I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry. I've been drinking for hours.
Okay. What you hear basically all the way down the hallway is just general conversation. A couple of rooms, you hear a couple of the couples already getting it on. They really didn't want to wait. You hear a few hoity-toity conversations about, oh, my dress is all wrinkled, and just that general hubbub. Other than that, you don't really hear anything out of the ordinary discussing lost bags or anything. Tim, you're kind of following Tarvok as he's making a mess down the hallway. You're, of course, still invisible. And as he's going up and listening, I don't think you really trust his kind of listening as well. You hear basically the same thing, though. And sometimes when you're kind of crashing through the doors, Tarvok, you're apologizing and going back out into the hallway. You actually end up crashing into the very end door on the top left-hand side of the passengers area there. And you immediately notice this entire family. Tim, you're standing behind him. You notice this entire family in there, and they all just kind of, like, the two kids kind of scream a little bit, like, who the hell are you? And then the mom kind of, like, scutters back into the room, covering herself up because she was getting changed, and then the dad just kind of turns, kind of nonchalantly, and looks at you guys, almost with a little bit of experience on his face, like, it wasn't surprising for him that someone came bashing into his room. And he goes, do you mind? I wouldn't mind a little privacy.
I'm sorry. I'm one of those. Oh, I'm just a wee little drunk. I'm sorry. I'm a hill dwarf, you see, and we don't like to be up in the air. So, I'm very sorry. I'll be
And-
leaving you alone.
And the man goes, "Aye, that's fine. Just don't let it happen again, please." And as
No,
he's
sir,
talking,
I'll
Tim...
be sure to stay in my room.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tim, you notice as he's talking to Tarvok, that the way he holds himself strikes you as somebody who's been through the shit. Somebody who you could possibly get along with on the streets. So, I'll say that much. That's a little bit of, I guess, feeling you're getting from this guy. Maybe not necessarily that he's a scoundrel of sorts, but just that he's seen some stuff out there. So, with that, we will go on a 10-minute break. I will put on the timer right now, and we will see you guys very, very shortly. Go get some water, get some snacks. We'll be back in less than 10 minutes. Bye. Hey everyone, thanks again for being here for this week's episode. As usual, I'm going to keep it short and sweet. I want to thank everybody for everything that they've been doing for us lately and all the love and attention that you've been giving us. Again, we don't advertise this, we just basically rely on you guys to tell your friends, your nerdy, wonderful, awesome, geeky friends who love D&D, fantasy, or just general shenaniganery, if you will. Thank you so much to, we got Shark Hunter, and we've got Touchable Jesus, and we've got Sakul. I hope you guys enjoy the character renditions of yourselves, as well as I have more planned for next week, so enjoy. Thank you again for being here. Let's get back to the episode. What?
Someone left.
One.
Everyone left at the dance floor. All right.
We gonna get copyright strike for saying
Always. Danik at the Pisco.
Do they even exist anymore? I guess they
Yeah.
would sue us because they need all the money they can get because they fucking suck.
I would have high hopes that they still exist.
Wow.
Someone's salty.
All right,
This is
Beacon
coming.
You Can't Sweat Out was a good album. I'm just gonna leave it at that.
This is coming from Paul, who is basically just a fan of Metallica and Godsmack, and that's it.
Hey,
Listen.
I love Godsmack.
I grew up as Metallica's nursery rhymes, man. I'm a metal fan. That's all there is to it.
That's fine.
It's
I
fair.
like Metallica too.
Didn't say I
like
didn't,
them three.
but that's
No,
all
it's-
Paul
all right.
likes.
I like
Not us.
alone.
I like high octane fucking. Listen, in my defense, okay, I used to gym with Ken like a lot. You have no
Oh,
idea.
yeah.
Ken's pump up music was like house music. I'm like, dude, this isn't fucking
I mixed
getting
it
me
up.
ready to lift things. This is making me want to do some and have sex with a lot of pretty ladies, which is fine. Not what I'm gonna do at the gym because the only pretty lady
There's not
there
any
is.
pretty ladies at the gym.
Yeah, what's it? I
It's
forgot his
only
name.
buff
What's
dudes.
what's
There's
his name?
plenty of
at the
pretty
gym?
dudes at the gym. Okay.
Who?
What's fuck the dude who works there? What's his name? I can't remember.
Zach?
Yeah.
Zach. He's the only pretty lady who goes to our gym.
He's pretty awesome.
Actually,
He's
no,
pretty awesome.
Dude is buff. Like he's
Yeah.
scary, man. He's fucking funny.
Anyways,
Anyway,
welcome back after the break, everyone. Sorry for being off the rails
Bananas.
before we got in here.
Where's the emote of the train derailing?
Yeah, it's gone. It's already derailed itself. Welcome back
Pretty
from the
mode
break.
ideas derailed.
Just a couple of things we want to talk about. I think if you guys aren't in the Discord, you should be. This is where we all like to post stupid random shit posts. You guys can post your fan art if you are making any. Please make fan art. It would make my heart swell with joy.
he doesn't
what
ask
else?
for much. Just
I
draw
don't
stick
ask
figures
for
that can.
Yeah.
Or
That works.
don't.
Oh,
What? No, I'm serious. Like he'd love that. I'm not being rude. He would actually enjoy that.
I probably would.
It's true.
We also have our quote book in there, so if you have any quotes, you can drop them in there as you hear them. And we just like to be silly and play other games and stuff in there, so you can level up too. Yeah, what else do we have? This is going to be an interesting arc. I know that tonight's not a whole lot of encounters, we'll say, but there's going to be a lot of important stuff, so make sure that you're paying attention to it. Am I missing anything else?
Josh just said he's got a
I
thing.
have a thing.
Okay.
Go.
I will be
You're out of time.
running. Fuck.
Let's go. Continue.
I will be running a series of one-shots in a world
I want to play.
I made with these guys, but I would also like to include other people, people from the Discord and whatnot. So if you're interested, I'm gonna make a channel and describe the world in it, and then we can talk about it there. So that's it, and it'll kind of be like a smaller version of Pacific Rim robots with like Nausicaa, the Valley of the Wind bugs. Like that's the idea.
A shit ton of fun is actually what
You know
he
what
said.
that
Yeah.
first thing you said was?
Mechs.
Yeah, next.
Gundam Wing.
So
I'm so angsty.
Look
Politics.
for more info.
Gundam.
Yes.
Anyway, I actually like Gundam.
if you guys are interested in that, then I'm sure we'll be coming up with some sort of an application section in the Discord, and of course we'll have to have some sort of criteria laid out, but we would love to have some people along for that.
Yeah.
No, just if they're cool, they can play.
Yeah.
Application.
I think that's
The only
I'm
thing-
disqualified.
I was waiting for that.
I guess the only thing I can ever add is the same thing I add every time. There's a very high chance that every other weekend, which should be this weekend, but we'll see how
We missed last
our
weekend,
DM
actually.
how our DM is feeling. Ken and I do drunk gaming, which is always a lot of fun. We have been doing Resident Evil, but I think it's time we moved on. You can watch us get super wasted and ultimately get really stupid and order pizza while making really bad jokes,
Too much pizza.
because that's how it happens. And this weekend's payday.
There is
So-
no
Bonus.
It's gonna be a
limit
good-
for those
It's gonna
bad
be a
jokes.
good one.
Ken actually owes me half a bottle of rum, like a half a 40, so it's on him this time. I'll buy the pizza though.
Yeah, Max, your moonshine night, I finished the rest of Paul's bottle.
Oh, I ended up finishing the moonshine, so
Okay, so Max kind of wins that one because Moonshine's percent is, or its
I'm
proof is like,
Mhm.
I have 2 more.
Well-
It was 128 proof.
All right.
fuck.
So yes, these are the things that are happening. Again, you can find us in the Discord, but you can also find us on Twitter if you like to be in Tweetland. Just go at Ret-Con-Artists TV, and you can find us there. If you also if you've noticed that we've been inserting some of the names of our more stringent followers, tonight it's Touchable Jesus and oh my God, MC Hobo, of course, because he's been mentioned in the previous episode. As well as, who else did I put in there? Mr. Shark Hunter himself, who I call my sweet, sweet caramel. And he is Captain Caramel Shark Hunter Exo, because his name used to be Exovisceral. So, that being
You guys
said...
remember Exoforce?
No. Don't fucking derail us again. Jesus Christ.
Derailed.
And so if you guys want to be a part of it, just kind of show your faces around here. Tweet about us and tell your friends. And we don't not notice the appreciation, and we greatly appreciate all of you being here and hanging out with us. So
We love bad jokes.
terrible jokes.
We're really bad at jokes.
That's
They're the best.
basically our show. So
One
That and
bad
bad
joke.
accents.
it's
all
all
we got.
one.
We're gonna
Oh,
change.
bad
Yeah, we're
joke.
changing our Twitch channel.
I'm talking
name
about
to
my
One
accent.
Bad joke.
That's not bad. That's not bad. All right, moving on. Let's get back into it. So you guys all have discovered the items in this bag. Tim and Tarvok unknowingly with Tim, you kind of made your way down the hallway listening to see if there's anybody complaining about a lost bag. You found nobody. Other than that, there's nothing else to do except kind of unwind and
We
wait
found
for
the
opening
hunter's
night.
materials.
Yeah, Tim also would have taken a wander down to the old guard shacks and their guard quarters, since it was listed on the pamphlet, and listen around there.
Sure. You make your way down to the guards' quarters. I'm gonna pull open my map here again. And there's actually a window on it. I should have put guard/info. There's a window on it, and there's one of the guards that you recognize from being from the ticket booth behind Mr. Touchable. and he's just standing there in the info booth, and just kind of twiddling his thumbs. There's a set of double doors on the guard's shack as well that faces the hallway that you're in. A couple of stair sets on the right. You look at the top of the stairs that are by the guard shack, and you actually notice that they go up to a door right at the top, and there's a guard posted at either side on either door. So
Tim's gonna go down and jiggle that door that he saw.
which one?
See if the one that was just right on that first level. I thought you said there was one there.
There isn't. There's ones at the top of the stairs
Okay.
that are near the guard shack doors there. The guards' quarters there as well. Like I said, it has the info window that has a roll shutter that seems to be like a security shutter, and then there is a set of double doors leading into the guards' quarters that don't seem to have a lock on the outside.
Okay.
Those are the doors that you see immediately around you, other than the cabin doors behind you down the hall.
All right. Well, he will go and reconvene with the group at his convenience.
Sure. Okay. So
Is there
you
a
all
casino?
Stalking Tarbok back to the group.
there's no casino. However, what you do find in the room as you're all kind of milling about in Bjorn's room is an information pamphlet for the week ahead, with classes and event nights such as casino night, open mic night, martial arts training on the sun deck, woodcrafting class on the sun deck. What else here? Royal tea with Her Majesty, who will be on board apparently, and then of course a wine mixer with Her Majesty as well the following night after the morning of the royal tea.
Did you say a wine mixer?
Yes.
It's the fucking Catalina wine mixer, right?
Thank
Okay,
you.
so and the special guests noted at the very top of the pamphlet is Her Majesty Princess Catalina Sivansil.
What?
So it is the
So-
Catalina wine mixer.
Yeah, it is the Catalina. It's the fucking Catalina wine mixer.
Were you
Fucking
ahead of my
Catalina
joke?
wine
I was.
I think
yes.
he was.
He was.
Oh, I can't. It's written right there. You just got owned.
Look, you can
Have I
actually
said something about this before?
Nope.
You can see the disgust in his face.
Did we
Look at
just
him.
become best friends, Alex?
so upset right now.
Get off my mind wave. Just get off my mind wave.
Okay.
Get
Alright.
out of here.
You're ruining my jokes. I literally just said something about this when you weren't here.
You did.
This was
upset.
that's true. He said we had to make that joke.
I'm sorry.
So,
I am upset now.
what do we know about
Damn it.
Catalina, the royalty?
Well, first and foremost, let's finish off who else is coming. So we heard about Her Majesty,
Mm-hmm.
and you said there was another name as well before we derailed again.
Wasn't
No,
it?
her name is Catalina Sivansil.
There was nobody else.
Well, I mean,
I
I'm
thought
I'm assuming her family would probably some family members, and
Okay.
because as you see, the royal Pax is actually above you guys, on the second deck, so the mid deck. That's their quarters. It's quite large, and it looks like it could probably house a good 4 or 5 people.
Vera, before the end of her 10 minutes, is gonna take a walk, see if anything sets off the detect magic.
Okay.
Then what do we know about the royalty as well? He did ask that as well.
Right.
Yeah.
So for those of you from the region, which I believe is actually only Tim from this immediate region, which is kind of near the coast itself, you recognize the name of Sevensil as the family that actually rules this region. This ship seems to have been somewhat pseudo-named after Catalina. It's the Catatonic. So as far as you know, this is just basically its first official royal voyage that you guys are now on together.
So this is a royal assassination.
That might be a plot.
So if we throw them overboard, they can't get blown up.
That's true. We can put a balloon on them.
Yeah, it certainly makes a lot more sense that someone would want to do something.
Vera, as you've been wandering the hallways as well, you haven't noticed anything really out of the ordinary. Maybe some minor hits in your companions' rooms from some of their magical items. A couple of minor hits from the guards' quarters, of course, but it seems like maybe it's magical items that they might have. And then a little bit of a hit from the galley itself, the kitchen, if you will. And that it feels to you like it's the type of magic you would use in eating, like cleaning, cooking, stuff like that. Like, I don't know exactly what school of magic that would be considered.
Sure.
It's something along those. It makes sense that that's what it
transmutation, probably.
Yeah, basically.
Or sorcery.
What?
Sorcery.
Yes, just general sorcery.
A sorcerer's apprentice joke, you know.
I didn't get that one. I'm sorry. Gesundheit. All right.
I'll go like as high as I can to. Like,
sure.
I don't know how. You said it was only 300 feet long, right? Something like that.
It's 515-ish feet long, roughly. I did actually measure it out when I was drawing it earlier today.
Nice.
You can go all the way to the top at the sun deck. You notice once you get to the very top level, it's beautiful. It's actually, there's banisters all around that are completely inlaid with brass engravings and wonderful little depictions of just seafaring and creatures from the sea. Like, it looks like it's all a bad joke about it being an actual seafaring ship, even though it's through the sky. You see some dragons kind of like twisted around the banisters. It's beautiful up there. This is definitely a high-class cruise that you assume would cost a lot of fucking money to be on. You notice there's a very, very large pool up on the top deck. There's a large building at the end called the captain's quarters. It has the sign above it, and then you see the brig at the very front, and that is clearly where they all control the ship and all of its various pieces. You can see the massive cables going to the top of these balloons directly above you, probably about 60-70 feet up in the air from the bottom of the balloon. There's one at the front and one at the back, of course, and there's a hot tub near the pool area. There's a couple sets of stairs. Other than that, it seems like the sun deck seems to be completely wiped clean, other than some loungers for now. But this is, from what you remember on the pamphlet that you read in Bjorn's room, the area where they set up all the activities. Directly below, there's
on the top deck,
on the very top deck, the sun deck. Yeah. Down below, there's the live dining area, which has some tables set up. Of course, it's covered by the top deck, but it's still out in the open. It's kind of like a patio sort of area. And then you see a small stage on the very back before you get to the end staircases. You see the ballroom. The ballroom is currently locked. It's being set up for tonight's event. And then you can't quite see into the ballroom as you're looking into the windows because a lot of the curtains are kind of drawn. You go down again and through the live dining area, and you find yourself in the enclosed dining area, which is just strewn with tables lining the walls. And then throughout the middle, there's an aisleway down the middle that leads towards the very aft of the ship. You go through the double doors from the dining area, and it's another outdoors dining area on the very aft of the ship. Other than that, that's pretty much most of it. The front of the ship, you notice the peak, the point of the floor of the ship is, or the bow, if you will, is it's kind of sloped, but it's also filled with sun loungers. It just seems to be a general gathering place.
I'll return from my walk and be like, well, there doesn't seem to be anything out of place magically, so I don't know.
Well, I mean, You can always try again when we get up to the higher floors, but
Well, I took a look around pretty much everywhere. So I don't know. Maybe it's not a magical threat. I mean, obviously we have this stuff in front of us, but I don't know how to use it exactly.
I've never had to handle anything like this in my 10 years as a ranger, so we could ask Arthur. I mean, he's been around. Tim is shady as all hell. I mean, he might know something. And Bjorn, I'm fairly certain Bjorn doesn't know anything. So, and that's not
The gentleman with a family.
Yeah.
the guy who asked me to leave his room.
He's weathered. He's seen stuff. We might talk to him.
That
I
is the
can
most
tell.
that Tim has ever said in one go. I believe him.
Yeah, actually, for the time
I'm with Bjorn on that.
for the time that Bjorn, Tim, and I have been traveling together, that is probably the most vocal the man's ever been.
Tim, are you okay?
Are you?
Okay, he's fine.
I'm pretty sure that he's onto something.
Practice your abilities.
So, I think it's a fair assumption that I'm not to engage with that man. He's already, if he's as well as you said, he's going to be keeping an eye on me. So,
I
somebody
think
else.
Vera
Then.
should do it.
A divine idea.
It's like,
Least suspicious ever.
You came across these parts in the hallway, and you're not sure what to do with them.
I suppose. I mean, aren't we supposed to meet with the captain or anyway? We can tell him then.
Plenty of time. You can do this.
All right. It seems to be that time actually for the opening night to begin after you've all been kind of milling about and checking the ship. You make your way up to the mid-deck area and you see the group of people. You'd think that there's probably, hold on, let me just do a double count here, head count. You'd think that there's probably roughly 30 to 36 people total in terms of passengers, and they're all very nicely dressed. Before you all headed up there, actually, you all go through your luggage to pick something to wear, and every single one of you, as you open up your luggage, you see a small note written from Bevington on top of a little, I guess, paper-wrapped package saying, "A gift for my friends." And you open up the paper-wrapped package and you all find a very nice ballroom-esque outfit. Very nicely tailored, much like Bevington's. So what would that mean for each of you, I suppose? What kind of a nicely tailored ballroom-style outfit would you expect to be wearing?
I'm going to wear my clothes. I don't bring fancy clothes.
So I guess Bevington would have just tried to give you a very simple yet nicely appointed tuxedo, and it's huge. It looks like it could be basically a bed sheet, and you just kind of forego that then.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's a nice thought at least.
I will definitely keep it, and I will think fondly, but I don't wear fancy clothes. They break easily.
Okay.
I'm thinking like something fairly plain but nice, you know, like a white or cream colored dress, you know, just a simple cut with maybe like a big blue sash or something.
Okay.
I don't know. Fear's not terribly, you know, into looking pretty all the time, so
Just a nice plain dress that accents her features.
sure.
Okay. Tarvok?
Just a
Features.
plain, just black suit with a nice bright white button up that the buttons don't fit all the way, as I have a problem with those kind of shirts. So I can't get it done up over his chest, so he leaves the first two undone. He forgoes the tie, and he just puts on these nice, like, very well shined shoes. Like, Tarvok he hasn't seen anything like this since his his father when he was a kid. So he takes exceptionally great care of them.
Like some nice patent
Slides them
leather
on.
chucks.
They're dress shoes. They're actual
Chuckas.
And
Sorry, that's what I meant to say.
And he's Tarvok's just floored, so he's only too happy to put them on. And it comes with a nice jacket that he just leaves up and undone, and he looks comfortable yet classy, which is very weird for a man who stinks of booze most of the time.
So you kind of look like the Fawns with your shirt open and a little bit of red chest hair poking out.
Let's go older. Let's do the most interesting man in the world.
Ah, I like it.
Yeah.
Stay thirsty, my friends.
That's a good one. Yeah.
Wonderful. Arthur.
So Arthur would have opened up this note, and he would have opened the page to see what's in it, and he immediately rolled his eyes. And he starts putting on what he was sent. And it's essentially what you would call, I don't even know the term for it, but it's a super nice style of dress that he wore when he was home. And where he's from, a lot of the people of his royalty level had some type of hand in the military with the tieflings and all the way they handled their command structure. So it would have resembled something that had like a military-esque style, but it's also more of just a really nice kind of suit.
Okay.
And it like buttons all the way up to like his under his chin, and it's real form-fitting, and he kind of puts it all on, and it even has like his rank on his shoulders, and he just kind of like stands there looking in like in a mirror, like all remembering his where he's from, and he just immediately takes it all off. And he takes the arms, and he just kind of folds it all back up nice and neat again, and he puts the jacket part back in the bag, and he kind of covers it up with paper, but he leaves on like the nice pants and the nice shoes that came with it, and then he just kind of puts on like his like unbuttoned overshirt he always wears, with still leaving like a nicer like undershirt on with it.
Okay.
So he doesn't have any exposed chest, his skin like he normally does. He just kind of wears that.
Okay, so kind of like tropical
He dresses
casual.
down. Yeah.
Okay. So, yeah, I would imagine it's kind of like sort of an Indian. I don't know what the word is for it either, but sort of that silk. That could, I don't know the word. Maybe sarong. I apologize for my cultural ignorance here, but that's what I'm imagining. Is sort of like a very formal looking Sikh garb, kind of like that style almost. Very silk, very bright colors.
Like to see what you're talking about, Josh.
A sarong?
Yeah, I don't know what that is. Can you send me like a link showing what that is? I'm just curious.
Sure.
So I imagine
what you're describing, Ken, is kind of like what I was picturing, I think.
Okay. So I imagine that you get all dressed up in this, and yeah, it reminds you of home, and then it reminds you of kind of where it's taken you, and all the way up to the point again. Is the point of when you decide to take it off, is it because of what's happened recently, or is it?
It reminds him of why he is the level he's at with his family and his even in the military and royalty and just everything he is, and why he's working for the people he's working for, and why he's okay with that.
Okay.
So it's just kind of like a reminder of where he's been and how something about his past he doesn't want to remember that right now.
Okay.
I'd imagine it's a culmination of Mason and just everything else that's happened in his life.
Okay. So your thoughts of your best friend Mason, and just you just want to forget stuff for now. Okay.
Yeah, he doesn't want to show that to everybody on this cruise ship.
Okay. Perfect. And then last but not least, Tim, what are you wearing to this event? You're always usually pretty dapper.
I think that what Bevington would have given Tim is just, it's nothing different from what he usually wears, just not as faded and much more cleanly.
Okay, yeah, you dig through this,
To
this
include
package.
a new hat.
A new hat. And I might add that Bevington also sent you a brand new cane. In the top of the cane, it's kind of hollowed out a little bit, and you recognize immediately what can fit inside that cane.
A gift from Bevington.
And in the bottom of your note, it says, function and form is always important.
I hope that when he opens that letter, it actually reads that out loud.
It's like a howler.
Bevington's voice.
Just screams in his face. Function and form.
Wonderful. So what are you gonna... Do you have anything for that cane?
Tim actually has a little stone that he keeps in his left inner coat pocket that he's going to mount in the perfectly sized device.
There you go. Your small stone, your focus, as we'll say, does perfectly click into the top of this cane, which is very, very dark, almost to the point of being black, but it's very, very dark maroon in color, and it matches the color of the stone almost perfectly. Your stone's a little bit brighter, of course, but yeah, it's like a perfect fit for it, and you appreciate it from what Bevington has learned from you. All right, so you're all dressed up. Bjorn, you're all dressed up.
It's gonna look exactly the same.
Yep.
Consistency is key.
You basically look like their bodyguard. And you make your way up to the mid deck from where you had, like I said, you had noticed that there were plenty of passengers up there. Everyone's kind of gathering about, and you can see that the stage is set. There's a microphone right smack dab in the middle, and the curtains are drawn. You all take your seats, and
Also still invisible.
A chair just out at the table that you're all sitting at. You all take your seats together. Conveniently, there's 6 chairs at the table, so you can all sit together and basically place your belongings or whatever you want on the extra chair. And you all wait for about 5-10 minutes, and then all of a sudden you hear this strange music, this strange beat start up in the background, and all of a sudden from behind the curtain, a yo 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 as MC Hobo comes launching out onto the stage and just goes through a rap that is completely ridiculous, talking about basically everything that's going on in the next week for you guys. It's kind of like, yo, so here's this rap for this aircraft. You'll all notice from the fore to the aft on either side, from starboard to port, we got some life rafts.
Oh wow, you actually did right.
I'm just thinking. First we'll depart from Erebor, then we'll go sail over the high moor. We'll go all around over the ocean. And then spin the ship and change our motion all the way back. We're feeling great. We're gonna finally fly over Baldur's Gate until we're back here at the dock. That was the end of the big old rock.
Bjorn's gonna clap really hard. You are doing a great job.
And Hobo, everyone's having a great time, actually.
I'm holding 2 slides.
The crowd stares in awkward silence.
And MC Hobo's rap continues to go through basically the itinerary of the week, everything that you guys already read over the pamphlet that you had, like the woodcraft class, the fitness class, blah blah blah, all that stuff, saying, you know, go up and have a great time on the top deck anytime you want. Hobo also goes on to explain that there's a bar down below in the main dining area, and it's all, of course, open bar. And then he goes to the side of the stage with his microphone, and he says, "Without further ado and further adon'ts," you know what I did there. I'd like to introduce the honorable guest of this here partay on the high seas. So yeah, like, this is Princess Catalina Sevensill. Like, come on out. And you see, as the crowd gets to their feet and starts clapping, you see
You're doing a great job.
you see like a small 6-year-old girl wander out onto the stage with
Small 6-year-old girl wanders out on the stage. It's the fucking Catalina wine mixer.
And everyone continues clapping as the small girl, like, she seems extremely scared. Clearly she's only recently had to take on some of these responsibilities of making public appearances, and she's followed by a few of her family members, her uncles, possibly a couple of bodyguards. They all kind of walk out, just very sternly out onto the stage. A couple of them are smiling a little bit, and she just kind of walks out and does a little wave, and Hobo walks over, puts the microphone in front, and like shortens it right down for her, says, "Go ahead, little one." And Catalina just looks over the crowd and she just says, "Hi." And everyone starts clapping again.
I like pony.
And she seems to be at a loss of words. She says, I guess we'll all try to have a really good time. Nice to meet you all. And she just does this little curtsy and bow, and everyone, of course, uproariously applauds again. And
wants to collect her.
I want to put you in my bag of holding.
Is
Tim my backpack?
Is Tim actually around, or is Tim doing Tim stuff?
Tim, are you doing Tim stuff, or are you actually around?
Sitting in the chair.
Invisibly?
It's just an empty chair at the table, but he's there.
What's the
Do
point
I
of
know
wearing all
you're
that
there?
stuff?
Probably not.
Right? Like, is this
There's
a
a
point?
On the table. We saw the
We
chair
left.
pull out, he said.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
So
We
we
left
don't know
the
if he's
chair.
sitting in it per se, but we know the chair got pulled out by somebody.
So, if I were to, while everyone's cheering on the 6-year-old, ask Tim, since he's from the region, correct?
Yes.
So, is she next in line for anything important?
Tim, what you recall is that her father, actually, her mother died a long time ago, and her father actually recently passed away due to quite old age. One of his wives, was one of the ones that gave birth to her, and her father passed away of old age, and she is now basically the ruler of the region, with, of course, her advisors handling things for her until she comes of age. That's what you
Oh,
recall.
all right. 6. She's young, no, but is there a chance there's political intrigue in here? You think one of our family members or
No,
aunts,
there's
uncles?
more than a possibility that somebody's going to be interested in the position. Since the old man kicked the bucket, she is indeed in charge. However, she has a cabinet, and they more or less make the decisions for her.
All right, well, maybe you can do Tim things to see.
I'm on it.
The chair creaks.
Goodbye, Tim.
No, that was just a fart. No.
Was Tim here?
Oh, yes, he's leaving to do Tim things.
Divine.
Okay.
Hmm. He'll probably find out who is behind it. And then
Okay.
I will hit him.
Vira, you were about to say?
I just am going to be paying attention to the crowd
Okay.
and not the stage.
Okay.
You're surveying.
Roll me a investigation check, please. Because you're looking for strange characters, I'm assuming, right? Like, you're actually looking for something specific?
Yes. I mean, just anything that seems out of place, I
Okay.
guess.
Sure.
So that'll be a 25.
Okay. What you see is what you can tell is the complete, I guess, passenger ship of this ship, seated in their tables. Nobody seems to be I guess, disinterested in what's going on. Everybody seems to be locked eyes on the stage. You look to the side of the stage, kind of near one of those stair sets, and you see Mr. Touchable standing guard and just very intently watching the stage, just making, from what you can tell, making sure nobody goes streaking across it or something like that. Behind you towards the ballroom, you see the doors are still closed and presumably locked. And there are various guards dressed in their uniforms, very nice uniforms, I might add. They're very bright white uniforms, much like a Navy style uniform. And they all have very, very ornate looking handled rapiers along their sides, all of the guards. And there's probably about 8 of them in total, and not including Mr. Touchable, but they're all lining the side of the live dining area just in case, you know, something happens, from what you can tell. That's what you gather from that. Is this isn't an unordinary amount of security, but for somebody who is just on a pleasure cruise with a bunch of rich people, it does seem slightly out of place.
I want to get up and talk to one of the guards.
Sure.
In regards to Tim disappearing, he actually went to go look for that guy and his family. Mostly the family, so we could find the guy.
Okay, yeah, he is sitting at one of the tables with his family, about 2 rows away from the front of the stage. And of course there's 4 of them at the table, 2 empty chairs. So we'll go back to Bjorn then really quickly.
Yeah, I was gonna say you can come back to me.
Sure. So Bjorn, you kind of go to the closest guard standing at the side of the ship, and he kind of stiffens up, of course, as you approach him. He seems to be a half-orc gentleman. They don't seem to discriminate around here. They're all the guards are of some, I guess, race or gender of the area. It doesn't
Good.
really. Yeah,
We
these
don't
guys aren't
tolerate racists in here.
And he just kind of like stiffens up and says, "Sir."
I have a question to ease the troubled minds of my son. How much security is around this ship at all times?
Paul. that is pockets.
It's so fucking cute.
I want him.
That is pockets. He's eating his treat.
Ah, that was adorable.
That was an amazing
That was a-
derailment.
That was a good derailment.
That was a good
Sorry, that it's
Good derailment.
Pockets is snack time. So
Aw,
since he was out, I figured, hey, why not?
I appreciate it.
Yes.
for it.
So, in answer to your question, the half-orcish guard, he just kind of says, well, why do you ask?
My son, he is paranoid. Extremely paranoid. It's very annoying to deal with.
Ooh, your son? I'm sorry?
Yes, my son is very paranoid.
Is he here?
No, he did not leave his room because he is so very paranoid. But if
Right.
you have sufficient enough guards, I was going to go retrieve him so he could see the royalty.
Well, what you see here is kind of what you get right now. Shift change isn't until later tonight, so...
Well, I don't need to know about your shift change. Just that this is the adequate amount of security for this area. But do you also have security elsewhere in the ship?
I'm sorry, I'm not really supposed to discuss our numbers, but I'll assure you that you are quite safe.
Cool. I'm going to go retrieve him. I'm going to leave the ballroom.
Okay. And where are you going?
I'm going to go find pillars or anything of structural integrity that someone may put bombs on.
Okay. All right, we'll flash back to Tim. Tim, you found this table with this family that kind of caught your eye. What are you gonna do?
Is the guy sitting at the end where there is an open chair, or is he on the end that is facing like the aisle?
He's sitting next to his wife, and the two kids are sitting directly across from him. So there is a chair between his wife and the kids and him and the kids.
So it'll more or less be standing behind him. I need to.
Okay.
Arthur also has an idea for later.
Okay. What you got, Tim?
I was just double checking the description of invisibility to see if I could do something while invisible, and I can't. So.
I mean, you can speak, right?
Yes, but I was going to try to make an excuse for the guy to leave without telling the guy that I want to talk to him and then corner him later.
Can't accidentally. Don't you have unseen servant?
No, that's Arthur.
No,
Only problem with invisibility. No, well, I had something else in mind, but the only problem with invisibility being is that if I cast another spell,
concentration. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Because I was gonna say you can use unseen servant and have him spill like a cup of water on him.
Okay. So what do you want to do then, Tim?
Tim will just whisper into his ear to tell the guy that he has somebody interested in making his acquaintance and to meet after the ceremony.
Okay.
In an area to the left, wherever that may be.
You whisper into his ear, and he doesn't flinch. It's almost as if he kind of sensed you there ahead of time. And after you whisper this into his ear, he gives the most slightest of almost imperceptible nods. And you make your way down the stairs, basically right after Bjorn does. Bjorn, you head downstairs, and you're looking for.
Are you gonna signal me, Tim, or are you just gonna let me do what I'm doing? Because I'm
just letting you do you.
Okay, good. Because I'm sure I would scare this guy away. Like, just I'm over here on a mission. I'm gonna investigate all pillars. I'm gonna pat them down, give them knocks.
I'm gonna go with Bjorn. Or Veer's gonna go with Bjorn. I'm watching the room and I see Bjorn get up and go talk to a guard and then leave, and I'm like,
Okay.
follow, yeah.
when she gets up to follow Bjorn, it's only myself and Arthur left at the table.
Yes.
So I move closer to Arthur and simply let him know. I don't know if you've noticed, but Tim's gone too. I think he's doing something very, actually, incredibly helpful.
I'm sure he's doing Tim things, as Tim does.
No, I know, but for once, I mean, I think I actually get his methods for once. It's actually enlightening.
Are you okay?
I think so.
made that chandelier shine.
Well, I had an idea myself. I think I'm gonna give it a shot here. Could you be a favor and just watch all the guards and try to remember what they do?
I can try. I'm a little drunk, but let's see what we got.
So, let's see what happens. And what I'm gonna do, Arthur's trying to time this. So after the girl, the princess, or would you say she's a princess, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So she bows, she curtsies and then turns around to kind of go off the stage or whatever it was. Right as she does that, she turns around to take a step, and Arthur wants to inconspicuously cast Minor Illusion and make it look like there's a second one doing the exact same thing, and then have that one immediately kind of disappear. So just enough to make the guards or whoever might be interested in actually protecting her react. So he's trying to figure out who is doing what when this happens.
Okay.
Everybody. He's hoping he's gonna try and keep an eye himself, on what people are doing in the room when he does this. But he's hoping Tarvok's gonna be able to kind of catch any, what movement.
I'm solely focused on the guards.
Perfect.
I'm giving it my everything at this point.
Okay. All right. You when you cast this, So Lieutenant Tuchable is behind the stage. So I don't know if this illusion would work on him. I'll say that much. Because what you're doing is putting it in front of everybody in the crowd, correct?
Yep.
So
it's almost it's like a deja vu thing. That it's like that kind of fast, like
right.
that.
Okay, so he doesn't seem to notice anything out of the ordinary from his angle. The rest of the guards do see yes. How are they going to react to this? Let me think for a second. I'm sorry. They see her kind of get to the bottom of the stage, pause for a moment, while the real one is still walking around the back of the stage. The image of her pauses, kind of looks back towards the crowd, and then just vanishes. All 8 of the guards on the side of the room all start to take a step forward in what seems to be concern. And you see Lieutenant Tuchable just basically kind of look at all of them and give them one of these, and they all just kind of stop and shake their heads a little bit, and then resume their posts.
Did I get any reaction out of any of the crowd?
The crowd, you can sense, like, they're all just kind of looking at each other like, did we just fucking see, like, what the hell just happened? Did we just see that? Like, almost like a magic trick. And even a couple of them in the crowd start to...
I'm Chris Angel. Welcome to Mind Freak.
Catalina Angel.
So I'm looking for people that maybe didn't react, I guess you could say. Those who would have watched the explosion because they're interested in it. Not those who would have ran from it. So I'm looking for somebody who may have been, like, wait, I thought we were the ones here trying to blow up, the ship kind of thing.
Like, oh, we're not the only ones trying to hurt the
right.
princess?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So maybe someone turned around and looked, looking for someone who's looking in the wrong direction.
Okay.
One of these people are not.
And I could
like
roll,
the
or
other.
if you wanted to say no, that's fine.
No, that's
too.
fine.
Just, making sure I describe what I'm looking for exactly.
From what you can tell, everybody seems to be pretty, I guess, engrossed with what's going on at the front. And this is kind of near the end of the proceedings of this welcoming night. MC Hobo comes back on the stage after that moment. Nobody's really disinterested. Everybody seems to be there, from what you can tell, to have a good time. And MC Hobo gets back on the stage and grabs the mic and says, all right, yo, so, like, thanks so much for being here. You basically have pretty much free reign of the ship, except for the staff-only areas, so make sure that you stay out of there. You don't want to get, slapped in handcuffs. I'm just kidding. But seriously, stay out of the staff areas, unless, you ask politely. They might take you into the brig or something cool like that on a tour eventually. Anyhow, I hope you all have a great night. Go get hammered and stuff, guys. And he just kind of drops the mic and walks off the stage. Bjorn, we're gonna cut back to you and Vera. She catches up to you as you get to the bottom.
I stop and I look. Ah, are you here to help?
Yes. What are you doing?
Well, I assume that with the explosives that we have found, that there might be more on structurally important parts of the ship. So I want to make sure that they're all safe.
Yeah.
Do you have any spells or anything that could help?
Well, unfortunately, it's not magical, and so I can't find it that way. Probably just be good to do regular checking around.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm gonna check. I'm going to knock on the pillars to see if I hear any hollow points.
Sure.
Check it. Give it a good old feeling 'em up.
Mm-hmm. Just feeling up them pillars.
Quick, break out the replicating pole.
Jesus. So, when you go down the stairs, you find yourself near the main dining area. There are some pillars, of course, with the balcony above you from where the stage area was. and those don't seem to be out of ordinary. You notice that they are nicely carved, much like a lot of the banisters around. And you go into the dining area. Those doors are still open because it's a very beautiful night as you're all kind of wandering around this ship. And you go into the dining and you check those pillars. They're all the same type of pillar. They all seem to be made of very solid mix of like steel and wood, all wrought with this brass inlay. You go out all the way around the bottom of the ship, and nothing really seems to poke out at you. Actually, you're all just checking, from what you can tell, almost every single support beam within this craft, and there's really nothing attached to it.
There are balloons, right?
There are balloons at the very top. You check the cables on the edge of the ship. They seem fine.
I am suspicious.
Okay.
I proclaim to Vera.
Well, I mean, if maybe it's not a big job like we think. Maybe it's more of an assassination attempt. It just doesn't seem like they've hidden anything to try and. I mean, if they blow up the ship, they're blowing up with it.
That is a good point.
As you guys are talking, you feel one massive shudder at the bottom of the ship as the engines are potentially firing up. And,
I was like, I inspected everything.
But this seems to be coming from below deck, which you guys have not been permitted any kind of access to. The engine room specifically, as the engines fire up, and you notice that the ground is starting to lift away, and the people that are done with the main opening night that are back down on the main deck with you, they all seem to be rushing to the banisters. Everyone on every banister level above you seems to be leaning over and watching as the ground just starts dropping away from you quite rapidly, and you feel this weird, gross feeling in the pit of your stomach as you start taking off. And thanks, I hate it. And Captain Carmel Exo walks up behind you guys, and he says, "This is always my favorite part. It's good to be at sail again.
I like the high skies."
Oh my.
Captain,
Anyhow. Aye?
I must speak with you.
He says, "Yes, I'm actually looking to gather your group. Please meet me in my quarters in the next 10 minutes. I'll round up the others." So as you guys are making your way to the top, you kind of pick up your group as you go along. Tim, I don't know. All right, we're going to cut back to you. So I don't know where you wanted to meet with this gentleman from the table. Where did you indicate to him?
It was just off to the side, away from the general crowd, but not suspicious enough to draw any attention.
Okay, so you are now visible.
Basically out of earshot. No.
Okay. All right, so you told him basically to meet you at the ledge of the middle deck.
Yeah. Meet you over there.
Over there. Where are you pointing? I can't see you.
Right there. Right there.
Oh,
over
okay.
there.
Yeah. Anyway, so after the ship seemed to have taken off and everyone had dispersed, you see this gentleman just kind of give his two sons a pats on the head and send them off running with their mom, and he says, "I'll be at the cabin shortly, my dear." And he walks over to the edge and leans against the banister by himself, seemingly. And he says, "So, you're an interesting character, aren't you?"
You can say that.
And
why are you here?
I'm here on vacation with my family, but
A
clearly
part of me doesn't believe that.
I'm telling the utmost truth. I've been saving up for a long time in order to buy us a voyage on this trip. We're all crammed into one room, as you could tell. Sorry. It was quite expensive getting on this cruise. Why are you here, and why is it that you're talking to me?
I'm looking for answers. You are someone who's seen stuff. I'm not sure what, but I can tell.
And I can't see you right now, but I get the feeling that maybe you and I have some things in common.
Quite so. Now, my question is, would you be willing to help in the event that you should be called upon?
That depends. What sort of help is it? Mind you, I am on vacation with my 2 boys and my wife. A fence does need some time off every now and then, as you can probably understand.
What about information on possibly some dealings that have been going on around here, or potentials?
It does seem kind of convenient that the second voyage of this is the Royal Maiden voyage, don't you think?
Indeed.
I got
But
that feeling as
I
well.
want more information. Let's say I pay you 50 gold right now. You find more information for me. I'll give you the second half after.
Now see, I think now you're speaking my language, but it's going to have to be more than 100 gold.
100 now.
Well, you said 50 now and 50 after. Is that not what I heard?
Indeed. I'm upping. Double.
Roll persuasion.
Ooh. 200 gold.
1 sec.
Tim is made of money.
He is. He's gotten a lot of money recently.
Gambling lord.
I wouldn't be surprised if he had way more than that.
It's a 17.
He says, my friend, I do think that it is gonna have to be a little more than that to risk having fun with my family. You see, my boys don't know what kind of work Daddy does, and I'd prefer to keep that risk to a minimum on this voyage.
250.
Roll persuasion.
Oh my, this guy.
That is a 22.
The man puts his hand out across the banister casually as if he's gonna scratch his arm, but you can tell it's actually a form of the secret handshake from the underground organization that you both seem to be a part of.
Tim will perform the handshake and give him half the payment.
Perfect. And as you're performing the handshake and handing over the coin, this gentleman says, nice to meet you, friend. What do I call you?
There are those who call me Tim.
I hate you so much. And the gentleman shakes your hand and he says, I swear I've heard that before. My name
Disregard any Monty Python you may have seen.
Who? I don't know what you're referring to.
Never mind.
But my name is Glavius Sakul. Nice to meet you.
The pleasure's all mine, friend.
All right.
I know that
I got
name.
that one. I got that one.
I understood that
I got
reference.
It, guys.
Yeah.
And
I got.
the gentleman just casually tucks the coin into his purse and he walks away and rejoins his family as they're all bounding down the stairs.
And I will head out to find my party.
All right.
Still invisible.
You actually see them all going up the stairs to the top deck, and you follow suit as the captain is leading them towards his quarters. Random cameo. You all make your way to the top quarters and into his room, from what it seems to be. It's directly across from the brig, as you guys can see from the map. And it's not much bigger than your own quarters. Oh, now I understand why she came to say hi. Because Mason's in the audience.
Pretty much.
All right. So
I don't think he knows there's a character named after him.
Well, he does now. So anyhow, you make your way into his quarters. It's about the same size, maybe a little bit larger than your own living quarters downstairs, and not actually super fancy like yours. It's pretty simple, pretty plain. He's a man of simple tastes. You see an old swashbuckler's sword mounted up on the top wall by his bed, and just a few mementos, old maps kind of strewn across the walls that he seems to have pinned up himself, and a few navigational tools, of course, and a small wardrobe in the corner in his bathroom and whatnot, and then a small table for a meeting area. He beckons you all to join, and as you walk in, you actually notice that Lieutenant Tuchable is standing in there, as well as two guards that you haven't seen yet, two very large guards, each of them with dark brown mops of hair that kind of almost cover their eyes a little bit and covers their ears. They don't seem to be the most well kept of all the guards, but they have their uniforms on. A couple of buttons are a little bit crooked, but they're very formidable looking men. These guys all stand around the table, and as you all take your seats, the captain begins the brief. All right. The captain begins the briefing, and he turns towards Lieutenant Tuchable, Jesus Tuchable, and he says, I'm sorry, Lieutenant. I've had to play this quite close to my chest. MC, will you please join us? And coming out from the bathroom after like washing his hands or something, Hobo walks out and he says, sure, man. And he like walks into the room and just like plops down in a chair and he says, so yeah, like, sorry, Lieutenant, but like we had to make sure that I was inconspicuous in hiring on the new help. And the lieutenant just goes, what is going on here? And the captain says, well, we've hired on some members of the maintenance department in order to help us with our little security breach that we have. And he looks at all of you and he says, welcome. Tim, are you still invisible?
Absolutely.
The captain goes, I assume you're here, strange magic man, as well.
No, the four of us are here. Yes.
When Tim spoke, can I try and I'm gonna not me, but my slime is going to lash out and try and dispel its magic.
I'm gonna roll for next.
All right.
Well, it's so I'm rolling to see even if I can aim properly. Which
Spell slot was expensive, man.
Mine is too.
I'd like to think you guys are probably about to go to sleep soon.
Okay, that's fair.
Anyway, yeah.
All right.
The
roll the
slime
hit. Roll the hit.
It's a 20.
Oh, what's your AC, Tim?
13.
I'll just say it hits.
So yeah, I'm like Vera's not expecting it and is still trying to learn how to control this slime. She's like, base.
It spreads out and like splaps against Tim's frame, and for a second you see him kind of like flicker into view. But as he holds his concentration, he's going to try and hold his concentration. Roll me a constitution check, please.
Wouldn't it be his spell check? His spell thing? Or it'd be constitution.
Just to see if you can resist being slapped by a slime and still concentrate.
Only 9.
And you flicker a little bit, and then you just automatically appear in your chair, or if you're in a chair. And,
no, you're standing.
Okay. And the captain just goes, ah.
Vera's like, sorry.
He says, all right, let's get on with this. Let's get the briefing over with. You all know now, I'm sorry again, Lieutenant, that there is a threat that has been made. I won't name my sources for fear of them being harmed in the future, but we've received a tip that there might be an attack on this voyage, this royal voyage. These are my two boys. This is Luther and Spud. Exo, of course, they are my sons. I can trust them. They are my sons. I had to give them some sort of work. And the two guys standing there go, hello, how are you? and they seem to be like basically talking at the same time. They're like trading words as they talk, almost like Tweedledee and Tweedledum. And they introduce themselves, and their little shaggy mops of hair just kind of shake around as they snap to attention. MC Hobo's, of course, standing there, and then, of course, Lieutenant Touchable, and then the rest of you. So, basically what I'm determining is you all need to just keep your ears to the ground. If you find anything, please let us know.
Oh, I'm working on it.
Excellent. I trust all of your expertise, and I hope over the next week you all at least find some time for leisure as well. Please don't make me throw you overboard.
I
sure
totally
we'll...
one has a question, sir.
Yes, large one, you have a question?
We'll be fine.
I found explosives.
I'm sorry?
I found explosives.
Okay.
Dun, dun, dun.
So there is definitely a threat here, but I do not know who owns these explosives.
And are they disposed of, I hope?
How do you
Yes.
dispose of explosives?
They have been dealt with for now.
So that
Well,
would be a no.
As of tomorrow, we will be over the high moor. I would hope that you please throw them overboard.
Understood. Is probably going to put it in the ball instead.
In before hoarding?
Just send it to Bevington.
Oh, yeah,
Here,
just
it's
keep
a
your
bomb, but
plastic
don't worry.
explosives
It's...
in my-
No, I'm just gonna send it to Bevington, being like, "Ha, I sent a bomb."
Wonderful. All right. So the captain says, I suppose that's pretty much all we really know. The group is unknown as of yet, but we are working on finding more out. There is plenty of security, and tomorrow I'll give you a full tour of the ship, including the underquarters, and a map of everything. Yes, large one again.
Do we get to have all access passes?
We will talk about that tomorrow. Basically, yes, but you have to be discreet. Yes, red-bearded one.
How do you know it's a group?
We don't, but basically the tip that we received is that it's a terrorism organization that's looking to attack us.
And you provide information on which organization this is?
Not yet. Yes, large one.
How many terrorists are actually, like, how many terrorist organizations are around?
You are asking the wrong person. I used to be a pirate, not a terrorist.
Isn't that a form of terrorism?
Not if you're classy. As this short one knows, I swear you must have been a pirate in a previous life or something.
Oh.
I like that you just.
I know a few things about thieving, I suppose, is the best way to put it.
You've got that look about you.
I'll take it as a compliment.
Yes. All right. So that, I guess, will conclude the meeting. Please don't hesitate to come to my quarters if I'm here. I will either be here or in the brig or out entertaining our guests. Be careful if you try to visit the royal family. That is the one area you will not have access to for security reasons, of course. Yes.
Why wouldn't the terrorist organization be going after the princess?
That is what our assumption is. As of
And once you tell us what the group is, we'll be able to better discern their motives.
I don't know what the group is. I will try to find more information.
Arthur's just like, what is it? Huh? You're holding
Don't
it from us,
trust.
aren't
Who's the
Seems
group?
like it is.
Well,
Seems like he is.
ya? I'm already super suspicious of everyone in this room.
You all feel... Sorry? Except what?
Except my friends.
Yes.
I'm suspicious of everyone else, though.
You all, as you're standing there talking and kind of concluding your meeting, you all feel another couple of shudders coming from down low and up high. And the captain just says, not to worry. You should probably get to sleep before we start hitting bad turbulence. I wish you all a wonderful night.
Okay.
All right.
Wookie still looks at him. Eyes are narrow, trying to discern if he's a good guy or not.
He just kind of... Good night. All right. And at that point, we will say you all go back to your quarters to either discuss or go to sleep, which we will talk about and retcon next time, which will be next Tuesday. Thank you guys so much for joining us here. As always, thank you all for being a part of this and showing us the support. We don't advertise at all, really, except for Twitter and stuff like that. So if you have friends that are into nerdy shit or friends that just really want to hang out and be stupid with us, send them the Discord invite, send them to our Twitter, or send them the links to the YouTube or the podcast, and they can catch up on everything that's been happening so far. So we really appreciate your help in getting the word out there. And so much for you guys basically just hanging out and watching us be dorks on camera. So
It's good fun.
Yeah.
We are the biggest dorks.
Once again, Paul and I might be doing a gaming night this Saturday. We'll keep you posted in the Discord and possibly on the Twitter. We got a lot of things in the works, and I really want to kind of tune up everything that we're doing. So it's going to be a good time, I think.
Yeah.
Anybody have anything you want to plug before we go?
Nope. Just that I'm tired.
All right. I appreciate you hanging in there, sick boy. You guys have a wonderful night, and we'll see you all next Tuesday.
Bye.
Later, peace.
Good night.
Bye.
Thanks again for joining us for this week's episode. We can't wait to see you all next Tuesday. Take care.